grisly this fire is. He's comparing it to him losing his cat and lightning striking on a sunny day while he's doing Meet the Press. You don't have to make up stories to relate to people. Can you just listen to people and stop putting yourself in the middle of everything? Stop telling me he's an empathetic guy, too. He has lost it.
Let's face it, talking about life insurance is never easy. But after we watched a close friend lose her husband with no insurance, we decided that wasn't going to happen to our family.
Yeah, but shopping for life insurance can be almost as difficult as talking about it.
But then we heard about Ethos Life Insurance. They're a new kind of life insurance, built for people on a busy schedule who don't have time for unnecessary doctor's visits, fine print, or hidden fees. You know, who want to keep it simple.
I couldn't believe how easy it was. We answered a few basic questions, and within minutes, we had an estimate of what it would cost and what sort of policy made sense for us.
I never imagined a life insurance could be so affordable.
And accessible.
The peace of mind knowing that our future is secure, it just removes a lot of the fear around getting older and...
Yeah, the unexpected.
I'm glad we talked about it.
I'm glad we went with ethoslife.com.
Go to getethos.com now for your free estimate. That's getethos.com. Getethos.com.
Mark Cox here. Different real estate agents will sell your home for different amounts of money. Don't be fooled into thinking all realtors are created equal, because they're not. Different realtors will get you different results. So the agent you choose to sell your home matters. The experience your agent has, the marketing, the database of buyers, the systems, and the capabilities of your realtor, they all matter. Why? Because how much you sell your home for matters to you. That's why I recommend you call Gloria Liu with your home sold guaranteed realty. According to MLS statistics, Gloria sells her listings for more money than the average agent, and she does it with less hassle. With 20-plus years of experience, our local real estate expert, Gloria Liu, knows how to get you the most money for your home, guaranteed. Gloria offers her sellers multiple selling options, so call her at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
Conditions apply. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
A former Trump lawyer turns himself in. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. John Eastman is one of 19 people indicted in a Georgia case that also includes the former president. Eastman calls it a bogus indictment.
It targets attorneys for their zealous advocacy on behalf of their clients, something attorneys are ethically bound to provide, and which was attempted here by formally challenging the results of the election through lawful...
What's up, hot people? I am one of you. I'm glad to see you.
You look... Did you touch the camera?
I might have bumped it.
God dang it, Ryan. No.
There.
No.
Perfect.
No.
See? See how even it is?
No, now it's crooked. Do the show.
I'm so lit. I'm so lit today, and I don't mean that like with
like
energy.
You or Fred Durst.
Yeah. I look like I'm on a set.
For a guy who craves
that's actually the
I don't know.
For a guy
I don't know, but I look tired
spotlight.
because my lighting's so good.
Just
you can
do
see the
this.
bags under my eyes.
Do it. There, that's better.
Hey there, everybody. Guess who's going to be on the show today? It's going to be Andy McCarthy right at the top of the show. Oh, look, let's look. Oh.
It's the best you've ever looked on that camera.
No, sometimes I look super good. Today I'm like, Andy McCarthy, I know, is the contributing editor at National Review. You've heard him, seen him in many, many different arenas.
You look bright.
I look lit, and I think that's the right word because it can go in so many different directions. Lots of stuff for the weekend about the special counsel appointed to the Hunter Biden stuff. They're going to discuss not only the revelations that, well, I haven't heard that much about them, so I need to listen to this, so that I can come and talk about it. But that is leading off the show here with Andy McCarthy, so that's cool. Marc Lotter, Chief Communications Officer at America First Policy Institute at 12:25, so right after that, talking about the debate, but really, what are we going to experience in that debate? You know, what's going to happen is this going to move the needle in any way? Did see who's going to be in the center stage. I don't know if you know that yet, but I won't give that away. Probably be discussed. Then Wiggins America, we're going to talk about something that's probably the most important thing of the day. Do you get Gen Z or not? Because people have brought up some interesting, I got a nice list of things that Gen Z does that nobody understands.
You want me to just tell Andy McCarthy to wait?
If you could, tell him why.
Okay. I'm just going to say, is the person hosting this a Gen Zer? Nope.
Yeah, just explain to him that
boomer.
We had something more important at 12:45, and we had to move him from the open of the show for some reason.
It's okay.
Then Jim Carafano, I mean, it's going to be packed, especially at the front of the show here. Jim Carafano at 1:05, talking about Hawaii, probably Biden's response in Hawaii, which is drawing the ire of many, including many Hawaiians. Beyond that, I do have a poll for you. You ready for it? Maybe you've already seen it scrolling at the bottom of the page. I just won't even say it.
What if I can't read?
If you can't read and you're just listening to this and you've logged on for some reason to just listen and not watch, the poll is, will Joe Biden be the 2024 Democrat nominee? We've asked this question before, but we want to see if it moves with the news cycle, with the dates, with the fact that he is getting older by the day. Let me know. Let us know. We would like to know. That is your show. Stick around. It is top heavy for sure, so we're going to get right off.
What are you saying about the last half of the show?
Well, the last half of the show is where I come in, and I'm just like, blah, 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 blah. Gen Z is crazy.
No, that's 12:45. You snuck that one in there.
Yep. Just like yesterday when I snuck in Freddy Krueger's best kill.
I still don't even know.
That was
happened.
pretty good.
Yeah, I understood none of it.
Yeah.
But it probably scratched the itch for about 12 of those.
And if you missed it, his best kill was the one with Carlos, who's hard of hearing. He uses his hearing aid to kill him. He said that was his favorite death. Okay.
And here we are talking about it again. All right, the show.
$9.93 or visit Truehold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without having to move. That's Truehold.com.
Do you have over $10,000 in credit card debt? I'm Cindy Case, a certified debt specialist with accredited debt relief. And by making one quick free call to our specialists, you could be on the road to becoming debt-free. Just ask Katrinia, a real accredited debt relief client. Katrinia was laid off from her job and had to rely on credit cards to survive. Between multiple credit cards and unsecured loans, she could barely afford to make the minimum payments. But our team was able to get her one monthly payment she could afford, which put her on a path to paying off her debt faster than she thought possible. We have already helped more than 200,000 clients like Katrinia pay off more than $2 billion of unsecured debt and are rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau. Give us a call today and see how much you can save and how quickly you can become debt-free.
Get your no-obligation savings estimate today and be on the road to becoming debt-free. Call Accredited Debt Relief at 800-584-4433. 800-584-4433. That's 800-584-4433.
If you need last-minute hires in no time, you need Indeed. Their integrated hiring solution lets you schedule and conduct video interviews all in one place. Finding your next great hire has never been more streamlined. Get hiring at Indeed.com/credit.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com or call us toll-free at 888-367-6512.
This hour of the Annie Frey Show is brought to you by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's
This is the Annie Frey Show.
We learned that when he was receiving emails pertaining to Ukraine, his son Hunter was copied on them, which we've always heard that the White House has said that Hunter Biden wasn't an employee of the government. He wasn't any part of the government. They couldn't understand why House Republicans on the Oversight Committee were investigating Joe Biden and his son Hunter Biden because Hunter wasn't a part of the government. Well, if that were true, then why was he receiving emails from the government?
Congressman Comer asking some questions that are becoming very obvious questions that I think people of all political walks of life should really want to know the answers to. Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Happy to have you here on a Tuesday, a GOP debate eve. But we're going to set aside the conversation about Republican candidates for president, and we're going to take a close look right now at the current president of the United States and some of the connections that he has to Hunter Biden and Hunter Biden's mounting legal troubles. We welcome Andy McCarthy back to the Annie Frey Show, contributing editor at National Review and Fox News contributor. Andy, thank you for coming back with us today. It's great to have you here.
Annie, it's my pleasure.
Thank you so much. This weekend, we had some news pop out. It's always interesting to dip into the news on the weekend when things are coming out that maybe want to get swept away after the Sunday news shows hit. And this connection, it looked sketchy to begin with, this special counsel appointment of David Weiss. But after this weekend, we find out even more so, more questions that need to be asked. Andy, what sticks out to you?
Well, I've said from the beginning, I think we've discussed it, Annie, that, Weiss is a high-ranking official of the Biden Justice Department. He's not qualified under the regulations to be a special counsel. Everything we know about the way that he's conducted the investigation is that his design is to have it disappear. That's because he's trying to protect the president. It's not so much about Hunter Biden as Hunter Biden's father. And the way I guess I'm one of the things I want to underscore, because I've been saying this for a couple of years, but it's kind of inside baseball stuff for the Justice Department that I'm not sure people grasp how this works all the time. The ace in the hole that the Justice Department always had with respect to the Biden investigation is that they carried it as a tax case. And the reason that's important is we have 94 federal districts throughout the United States. You have a United States attorney in Missouri. We have them all over the country. With respect to most crimes, they can indict whatever offenses, criminal offenses happen in their jurisdiction. But tax is different in that every United States attorney in the country needs the permission of tax division at the Justice Department to bring tax cases. So even though Garland was saying all this time that Weiss was an independent actor and he had the final say on everything, which we now know is just complete nonsense, he's always had to get permission from the tax division to do anything as long as they carried this as a tax case. So this case has always been run by the Biden Justice Department, and it's always been a profound conflict of the Biden Justice Department having to investigate the president's son for behavior that the president is implicated in.
We're speaking with Andy McCarthy here to start the Annie Frey Show off about what has been uncovered this weekend that mounts on top of what we have seen the House Oversight Committee looking into Hunter Biden. We compound that with the IRS whistleblowers as well. All of this to say that we've heard Joe Biden repeatedly state, I had no business interest or involvement in any of Hunter Biden's business dealings. Congressman Comer saying there in that clip at the beginning that Joe Biden was CCing his son, among other of his son's colleagues, on government business that was taking place at the time. Is that an unethical move on then Vice President Joe Biden's part, or is there some sort of illegality towards that?
Well, at a minimum, it's unethical. Whether there's illegality, we have to know more details about exactly what the what these memoranda were about. What I'm constantly amused by is the suggestion that people have, or the suggestion that people make, that Biden wouldn't do anything like this. You'd have to be really stupid to do something like this. You'd have to be really stupid for him to talk to his son about the business or get involved in any way in the business. Joe Biden has a 50-year track record of having appalling judgment. This isn't like a new thing where he got old and sort of senescent and he's lost his fastball. This guy never had much of a fastball. And, the idea that everything we can see from this scheme, and I think this is the most important thing, Annie, to come out of the reporting over the weekend. If I'm the Republicans, what I say is what happened in the Hunter Biden case is Exhibit A of what the Biden family influence peddling scheme was about, because the scheme was to sell access to Joe Biden because he's a powerful guy that you wouldn't want to mess with. And here you have these big, tough Justice Department prosecutors who are scared to death and won't indict Hunter Biden, even though they have him dead to rights on tax evasion charges and gun charges, because they're intimidated by Joe Biden. This is exactly what people were willing to spend millions of dollars on. These foreign actors who poured millions of dollars into the Biden family coffers, they wanted the appearance to the outer world that they had access to Joe Biden and that they were not people to be trifled with. And if you were like the Ukrainian government or the British government who was looking at a Ukrainian, a dirty Ukrainian businessman, he wanted to brandish that he had connections to Joe Biden in the hope that that would discourage people from conducting investigations they didn't want conducted. That's what the scheme is. And he obviously did it with his son here. And the reason I underscore this is there isn't anything subtle or clever about this. This is basically, the scheme is about creating an atmosphere of intimidation that discourages government regulators or Justice Department prosecutors from doing the job that they would do if the person was any other person who didn't have political connections.
We're speaking with Fox News contributor and contributing editor at National Review, Andy McCarthy, right now. I'm going to ask you a naive question. You say that people were made to be intimidated by Joe Biden or even afraid of Joe Biden. What would they be afraid of?
Well, what the Biden lawyers told the Justice Department guys is that it would be career suicide to prosecute Hunter Biden. They would. It's like one of these. You'll never work in this town again. You want to have a career in government where you climb the so-called greasy pole. You have to be careful of who you offend, and you have to make the kind of connections that'll help you along the way. I think most of us from the outside looking in, we find it disgusting, but that's the way it works.
Yeah.
And he was a powerful political figure. He was in a position, therefore, to make life miserable for anyone who crossed him. And most people who would then be in a position of crossing him would figure, maybe I'll go regulate someone else. This probably is not something I want to get involved in. And what they were trying to do, what the family lawyers were trying to do here, is convey to the prosecutors in no uncertain terms that if you go down this route of charging the president's son, it is not going to end well for you. And that's exactly what they were telling them.
One of the things that I heard this week in one of the reports was that should the prosecution have continued on in the moment that it was that Joe Biden would have had, they were going to put Joe Biden on the stand? Did I hear that correctly? What did that mean?
Yeah, well, what they were saying, what the lawyers were telling Weiss, who was the U.S. attorney in Delaware, was that if you dare charge Hunter, then Joe Biden is obviously going to be a witness to the defense. In other words, you, Justice Department, are going to have to deal with the fact that your boss is going to be a witness against the Justice Department. You are going to put him in the embarrassing position of having to be a witness in a trial. And that was a threat to the Justice Department. And it worked. When Weiss heard that, he wanted to cut a deal where basically the whole case would disappear. And the only reason he didn't is because the whistleblower agents from the IRS went public. And at that point, politically, it wasn't tenable to just make the case disappear. So they tried to concoct something where he would plead to basically nonsense so that they could hold their heads up and say, we got him to plead to something. But in the meantime, it would be no jail time and it would be a complete immunity bath. And that's what they tried to pull off.
Andy McCarthy, is there any scenario that, in my complete and total lack of legal expertise, is there any scenario whatsoever where David Weiss is the right guy for the special counsel job?
No, I mean, he can't. If you're going to talk about special counsel as that term is understood in the regulations, he's not even eligible, because what the regulations say is you have a special counsel when the government has a conflict of interest. The Justice Department does. That means the Justice Department can't investigate a case in the usual course. And what makes a special counsel special, supposedly, is that the person comes from outside the government, not just outside the Justice Department, outside the government. So if you're following the regulations, you have to bring in somebody independent from outside. Weiss is a high-ranking official in the Biden Justice Department. He's the presidentially appointed United States Attorney for Delaware. So he's not eligible under the regulations. So if we were just going by what the regulations say, he's not eligible to be a special counsel because he's not a person who's being brought in from outside the government. And then if you want to just get down to like the facts of the case, his whole performance for 5 years has been to make the case disappear. I mean, here we are in August of 2023. He's had this case since 2018. He's never indicted it. Even after the plea blew up a few weeks ago, he still hasn't indicted it. And the effect of not indicting a case is that the statute of limitations continues to run. If you want to stop the statute of limitations so that you know what case you have to charge it. He hasn't charged it. So as a result, like everything that's happened, I should tell people the statute of limitations on tax offenses is 6 years. The statute of limitations on every other federal crime that's of relevance here would be 5 years. So it's 2023. Everything that happened other than tax prior to August of 2018 is now gone.
Wow.
Everything that happened that involves tax prior to August of 2017 is gone. Some of the most outrageous acts in this investigation happened in 2014, 15, and 16 when Joe Biden was vice president. But because of the way Weiss has run this case, you can't bring those charges anymore because they're time barred.
Man, and then when you look into the past of David Weiss as well, being from Delaware, connected very closely to the Biden family, I think it was discovered this weekend as well that he had been in business with Beau Biden at some point in time years ago. Is that accurate?
I think they worked in the same office. I don't know what the nature of their relationship was, but just so people know how this works. The Democrats run around and say, we could trust Weiss with this case because he was appointed by President Trump originally as the U.S. attorney. And that just bespeaks an unfamiliarity of how this works. In order to get confirmed, the way this all works, to be a judge or a United States attorney in a district, you need the support of the 2 United States senators from the state. In Delaware, those senators are Democrats who are very close to the Bidens. So the only people Trump could have gotten through confirmation in Delaware were people who were approved by Senators Coons and Carper. So Weiss has the job because those guys were comfortable with him. They're close Biden allies. And remember, Weiss was the only Trump-appointed United States attorney who was retained after Biden took office. Every other one was fired. So he understood that as long as he ran the Biden investigation without bringing charges, he could keep the job that he wanted so much, which was to be Delaware U.S. attorney. The only way he could screw it up would be by charging. So he never did.
Last question for you here real quick. We're speaking with Andy McCarthy, Fox News contributor and contributing editor at National Review. The Republican majority, very slim but very important in this instance, is there to investigate even as some of these statute of limitations end up running. And they're looking into Hunter Biden, obviously. It seems as though now they're looking into David Weiss, that there's the potential for the House to do something about Merrick Garland and his role and the oath, the testimony that he's given regarding this. And it seems like potentially this is all to investigate as well the President of the United States. Have you been, in your observation of what the House has been doing so far with the majority, are you trusting that they're on the right path to, even if those statute of limitations in the court of law goes out, that the House is still going to try to get to the bottom of this for the American people?
Yeah, I not only am satisfied that they're doing the best that they can under the circumstances, I would not, there's a lot of talk now about doing an impeachment inquiry. And if it were up to me, I think I would just leave Comer alone and let him do what he's doing because he's been doing a great job. The reason I say that, Annie, is they have very slim margin in the House, the Republicans do. It's a 4-vote margin. And there's a lot of Republicans, I think, who will be very antsy about the idea of doing an impeachment inquiry. For one main reason being, there's no way that they could ever impeach anyone in the Senate, right? The Democrats have that locked down. So what a lot of Republicans, I think, sensibly are going to say is that, look, Comer's doing a great job. Look at all the information he's dug up. Look at how much more advanced this is in the public consciousness than it was 6 months ago. Why would we mess around with a good thing when, if you try to go the impeachment inquiry route, first of all, you might lose because you might not have enough Republicans to even vote for an inquiry. But even if you could get them and you wrote some articles of impeachment at the end of the rainbow, they're going to get acquitted in the Senate. So you're going to shut down the government to do an impeachment that you can't win. And in the meantime, those are weeks that we should be talking about Biden's economic program, his foreign policy, all the disasters that we're dealing with in the country. Why give him a chance to get acquitted by the Senate and then run around and claim vindication?
Yeah, I think that's very, very smart politics. And I'm very encouraged to hear your thoughts that the direction that Representative Comer is taking this right now is a fruitful endeavor. So we will continue to watch it. We are so grateful when you give us your time, Andy McCarthy. Thank you for being with us again today.
Thanks, Annie.
You're welcome. He's a contributing editor at National Review, and he's also a Fox News contributor. We got to get to a quick break. Why? Well, because we're going to have Marc Lotter on here in just a couple minutes, the Chief Communications Officer at the America First Policy Institute, to give us some GOP pre-debate analysis. And we're doing these two segments. They're not about Trump. We've got a debate stage. It's set. The American people will be watching to see what the Republican Party has to offer. And Marc Lotter is going to give us his thoughts on the direction that debate will go and how it will benefit the American people, or maybe not benefit the American people. Marc Lotter on the Annie Frey Show in a few minutes.
I divido over you. I divido. Give me one good reason why I should never make a change.
When you have it be as flipping hot outside as it is in St. Louis right now, my goodness, it's like 118-degree heat index the other day. If your windows are not good windows, you are losing energy that you are going to have to continue to pay to pump into your home to keep your home cool. If you have been fighting with degrading windows, maybe the builder's grade windows that were put into your home when it was built and they've run their course and you need a better window, you need a replacement window, go see Window World. You can log onto their website at windowworld.com right now with any questions you have. You can get a free in-home estimate. You can give them a call by reaching out to 314-993-1800, 314-993-1800, or get that free in-home estimate by logging on to windowworld.com. They are now offering 18 months same as cash financing with approved credit. So if you've been putting it off because of budgetary reasons, they're going to make it as easy as they possibly can for you to get your house with those secure and beautiful, affordable windows. And you can do it with that great financing offer. 314-993-1800, online right now at windowworld.com.
Men, if you're struggling with erectile dysfunction or PE, the medical providers at Paramount Men's Medical Center offer breakthrough treatments that eliminate problems in the bedroom without pain or surgery. Listen to a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Paramount Men's Medical Center offers the most advanced treatments to eliminate ED and PE. 98% of men experience instant results on their first office visit. They're even lasting 90 minutes or longer, regardless of age or medical history.
Don't just take our word for it. Call Paramount Men's Medical Center now for our limited time offer. Your initial consultation and first treatment are completely free. You'll see instant results right in the office. You'll even get a gift that enhances your performance in the bedroom. All this, worth hundreds of dollars, is free if you call now. 314-720-8081. 314-720-8081. That's 314-720-8081.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Swear you hit me like a vision. I wasn't expecting. But who am I to tell Frey where it's supposed to go with it? Don't you blink, you might miss it. See, we got a right to just love it or leave it. You find it and keep it, because it ain't every day you get the chance to say.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Grateful to be with you today on this super steamy Tuesday afternoon. Just got done speaking with Andy McCarthy about the David Weiss special counsel appointment, and really, how sketch is all of that? It's a very important story. It's kind of getting swept aside right now with all of the conversation around the debate. Both are big stories, so we're covering them both. Let's bring our friend Marc Lotter onto the show. He's the Chief Communications Officer at America First Policy Institute. Very, very well-versed in the way of politics and things like GOP debates. Marc, welcome back to the Annie Frey Show.
It's great to be with you.
So, I'm trying to have these first two segments I'm doing in my show, the one that I just had with Andy McCarthy about the Hunter Biden, Joe Biden, and David Weiss stuff, and then this conversation with you. I want to have these two conversations without only talking about Donald Trump, because both conversations are important to have, and he's such a massive figure that he kind of consumes all the oxygen in the room. So we're going to have a GOP debate tomorrow night. Donald Trump isn't going to be on the stage. I want to ask you, Marc, what will the American voter, taxpayer get from a debate stage tomorrow night with the people who are there?
They will get a great look at 8 or 9 people who had the patriotism to put their name on the ballot but are not likely to be president of the United States.
Okay, that's a great take. I was saying yesterday when we were reporting, officially that Trump had said no, he's not going to do it, that tomorrow night we might actually get to see what the Republican policies, because they're probably on the large part going to be very similar candidate to candidate, that even if America gets to consume where the Republican Party is coming from, that will still ultimately benefit whomever becomes the nominee, Donald Trump included.
No, you're absolutely correct. I mean, look, all 8 or 9 of them, and it wouldn't matter whether Trump was on the stage or not on the stage, they're all talking about the same thing, the America First policies, the Trump policies, because they worked. We had lower gas prices. We had inflation under control. The southern border wasn't a crisis. There was no war raging in Ukraine. Parents weren't being told they don't have a right to know what's going on with their kids in schools. None of those things, there's any disagreement on.
Yeah. And
the only thing they're going to be arguing about is style.
Yeah. And there's going to be, if it's going to be interesting to me, at least, to look at those 8, 9 individuals up there. They're very different people. They come from a lot of different walks of life, a lot of different experiences. Do you think that, as far as America is concerned, consuming what is to be offered tomorrow night, that the Republican Party idea in the heads of people who haven't really dug into what the Republican Party stands for, do you think that they'll be able to change anybody's minds?
Well, I think you might open some minds. 'Cause obviously, they're going to be characterized as being extremists, as MAGA extremists by the radical left. The people who want to kill babies up until the day they're born. But what you're going to see on that stage is people who are going to be talking about the same things we've been talking about since the days of Reagan: lower taxes, less regulation, a secured border, peace through strength. And we've already seen, whether it was back in the days of Reagan, back when it was obviously under Trump, when you cut taxes and you get regulation and government out of the way of American freedom, we thrive. And we actually had more money coming into the federal government after we cut taxes than you do when you raise taxes. And then we had the lowest unemployment rate to date for Black Americans, for Hispanic Americans, for Asians, for those without a college degree. All of those things happened not because of government, but because government got out of the way. And Joe Biden has done the exact opposite. And here we are. Well, yeah, the unemployment rate is low. People aren't worried about losing their jobs right now. but they can't afford groceries or gas.
Right. Yeah, it's an existence, especially, we're here in the Midwest, flyover country. We get these news clips regularly when Joe Biden isn't on vacation, talking about how great Bidenomics is. And I guess if I were on vacation as the president of the United States as much as he would, I'd be thinking, man, this economy's great. I'm doing wonderful here. I get to enjoy the fruits of his labor as the president of the United States. But meanwhile, people are putting less groceries in their grocery cart. You have to figure out how you're going to make the paycheck that you get to keep last the entirety of the month so that your bills are paid and you can feed your family. It is not true that Bidenomics is understood by American consumers as a positive thing. And it kind of makes me I raise my eyebrow. Why are they trying so hard to name it with his name? It almost seems, I don't know, it seems strange to me.
Yeah, no, thanks. That's a gift from heaven, and I'll take that and I'll use it, because you can't convince the American people, no matter how hard Biden tries, no matter how much money he spends, you cannot convince the American people what they see every day in their own lives is success. They know the prices they're paying. They see the price going up. I said it on TV over the weekend. I get it that they're trying to say, well, inflation has come down, but that's not how inflation works. If something went up $2.50 last year and 50 cents this year, you're not saying, oh, it only went up 50 cents. You're saying it went up $3. And that's how people feel right now. They're not sitting there looking at some government statistic about inflation rates. They just keep seeing the price for the things they want, they need, they use in their daily lives go up and up and up. When you price people out of bacon, we're going to have issues in this country.
That's where we draw the line. It's right there at bacon. Completely understand. We're speaking with Marc Lotter. He's the Chief Communications Officer at America First Policy Institute. But he's also the former Director of Strategic Communications for Trump-Pence 2020 and the former Special Assistant to President Trump and the Press Secretary to Vice President Pence. You have experience working very closely with two of the candidates, maybe more, that are in this race to be the president of the United States. So let's shift to Donald Trump here a little bit. He's not going to be on the debate stage. He is light years ahead in the polls of any of those candidates that will be up there tomorrow night. Is it possible that everybody who supports those candidates on the debate stage tomorrow night, that if Donald Trump does, in fact, conclude the victory here as is expected based on polling, can he rally this entire Republican Party behind him to beat Joe Biden or whomever that Democratic nominee is?
I certainly hope so, and I think that is the key right there. If the argument is being made at this time next year, once we know for sure, but once we know officially who our nominee is going to be, if the argument is you need to support Trump because he's Trump, well, then you might lose some people in translation. If you unite people around the policies to defeat Joe Biden, then I think we win that, and we win even more independent people over. Because, I've seen it, Annie, you've seen it, the memes and the bumper stickers. It's like, I'll take a mean tweet for $2 gas.
Right.
Well, that's the way people feel right now. So if you can go to them with a plan to say, I'm going to get energy going again, I'm going to get gas prices down, I'm going to secure the border, I'm going to pass a parent bill of rights to make sure that teachers' unions and administrators can't go behind your back and keep secrets from you about your child. If we're going to lower crime and deal with crime, fund the police, add to police, all of these kinds of things that people are clamoring for, we're going to win that argument every day, which is why they keep piling on more and more criminal charges, and now they're every day they want to come up with something else to distract you because they can't win the policy argument.
Mark, this is a cyclical thought process that I go to, and I want you to speak to people who are like me. I know a lot of people listening are very much so in the same boat that I am. I don't know that I've ever supported Donald Trump as a patriot and as a fighter for this country more than I do right now, because I have two eyes, I have two ears, and I see what they're doing to him. I understand why they are doing it to him. And when you juxtapose that along with the conversation we just had with Andy McCarthy about all of the bobbing and weaving they're doing around the Biden fiasco, it's so plain for anybody who's paying attention to see that they are trying to protect people and they are trying to incriminate people. And Donald Trump is there as a threat to whatever it is that they're trying to protect, their power, their access to complete control. My only concern about a Donald Trump nomination to be the person the Republicans put up is that he's going to be able to pull off the general election. I don't have any policy concerns. I know that he's capable of turning this economy around pretty much on a dime. I know he's capable of handling our position on the global stage. I know he's capable of fighting back and actually even acknowledging the problem at the southern border. But I just fear that when it comes to the general election, that there are too many people who have been made to ignorantly hate this man. How do you talk to people like me who want to support him with our vote, but we're just worried that he's not going to be able to get across the finish line?
Well, I think so. The benefit is that, and when you look at the state-by-state polling, and there's not a lot of it right now, but what the early voting or the early polling has shown is that the president is running very strong in the states he needs to win the White House. That includes places like Michigan. That includes places like Georgia and Arizona and Pennsylvania. And so those are all very encouraging signs. I mean, no, he's not going to win California.
Right.
Fine. They want to have Governor Xi. They can have Governor Xi. But in the places that matter. But here's the challenge, I think, here's the challenge for conservatives, for Republicans, for people who support the president. And when we go out to talk about once we get to this point next summer, when we go out to talk about this race and the importance of this race, we cannot talk about Hunter Biden. We cannot talk about all of these other issues because that's not what's going to motivate. At the end of the day, I honestly believe it's going to be a lot like 2016, where the average voter, not the people like you and I who follow this every single day for a living, but the average voter out there is like, yeah, you know what? Trump had classified documents, so did Biden. Trump faces charges. Biden should face charges. Just tell me what you're going to do to make my life better. And whether that is the gas prices, whether that is the inflation, whether that is education, whether it's crime, lowering mortgage rates. If we talk about those issues to people, they already know. Even if you didn't love how he tweeted, love how he talked about things, loved his tone, you liked his results.
Right.
And so if we can say, well, you know what, put all of that aside. Because really, to be honest with you, I'm not electing a pastor. I'm not electing I'm electing someone that's going to make my life better. And look what you got here. And I was on, as you said, that 2020 campaign. Joe Biden won because he could hide in his basement and say, I've spent 50 years working across the aisles. I'll end the pandemic, and I'm nicer than Donald Trump. And that's all it took. He can't do that now. He has a record. He didn't have a record then.
Yeah.
So every time people I remember the stickers on the gas signs, it said, Joe did this. I did that. Well, we need to keep reminding people of that. And we need to keep reminding that it doesn't have to be that way anymore. And now you may not love his tweets or truths, or you may not love how he always says everything. But if you want to get back to $2 gas, if you want to protect 120,000 UAW auto worker jobs from a EV mandate because Joe Biden's going to force us to buy golf carts against our will, if you want to still be able to go out and buy an F-150, if you want to be able to buy a gas-powered car, you should be able to do it. And I have nothing against electric cars. I still want to be told I have to buy one.
Right. Absolutely. This is still America for the time being.
Correct.
Mark, let me ask you one last clarification or question about what you're saying, because it's so spot on. I mean, you can just call scoreboard as a Republican right now and make the case that whomever the Republican nominee is the way forward if we want to protect this country. If those remain the issues that are talked about, I think it's Ronald Reagan 84-esque landslide. Will Donald Trump talk about those issues, or are we going to be talking about 2020? Are we going to be talking about stolen elections? Are we going to be talking all about witch hunts the whole time?
Well, I think there'll be a combination of both. Knowing the president as well as I do, look, he's always going to keep the base, the MAGA base fired up, and nothing fires them up like witch hunts and and all of that. And there are a great number of people who believe that 2020 was stolen, and so he's going to always keep them fired up. But you're already starting to see him pivot. You're already starting to see him talk less about his primary opponents and more about Joe Biden. You've actually seen him put out, on his social platforms and other places, policy proposals, things he's actually going to do to deal with fentanyl, to deal with, various issues, the southern border and such. So he's already moving into a general election posture where he's going to talk about those issues. Now, are they going to get covered? Maybe not, because the media will just want to cover, the things that make him look bad. But as I used to say, and you remember I said this on your show so many times in 2020, your listeners are more important than anything I could ever say on Fox News or on this radio show, because when you talk to someone at church, when you talk to someone in your neighborhood, at your kids' schools, and you're talking about those issues we just talked about, you have more credibility in your voice than I ever will. So you, as the listener, need to be the army. You need to be the one out there talking to everyone that you know about why this election is important and how we can choose a different direction. Because the ads, people ignore those. People ignore the spokespeople and the hacks like me that are out there talking about these things because you see us all the time. But when you hear someone in your own life that you trust, that you respect, and you're talking about these things, then you can change hearts and minds.
Yeah. And you have to be willing to speak up. It doesn't have to be combative. I think that what Americans are going to need to do, if you care enough about the outcome of this coming election, is it's going to require some boldness on voters who see and who pay attention to speak with compassion, but with honesty. And we have been tried. The left has worked so hard to make you afraid to do that. And there's too much at stake to continue to adhere to it.
Absolutely. And don't let them put a mask back on you.
Oh, God, no, it's not happening. Won't allow it.
They're trying.
Well, man, they want to lose an election? Maybe bring on the masks.
Let them.
Marc Lotter, it's always a pleasure to speak with you. Thanks for being with us today. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Chief Communications Officer at America First Policy Institute. You need to check out their website. They have an America First policy plan that articulates exactly what the Republicans, should they take office, can do, like immediately, with legally thought out policies that can be put into place, and boom, just like that, we are down to business. And it's not the Trump plan, it's the conservative constitutional plan that whomever wins that primary can implement. The work has been done. We do know also that the Heritage Foundation has the Project 2025 in place. There are a lot of things. This is how serious things are right now. We have no time to waste, including right now. And listening to what Marc Lotter is saying there, we have to be willing to speak to one another. We have to be the people who are willing to speak that is predicated by listening. You have to listen. Great conversation with Marc Lotter. Let's take a quick break and get Wiggins America in here. He's going to talk to us about things that Gen Z does that confuse people who are not Gen Z, I think is how it goes. Things about Gen Z that confuses anyone not Gen Z. With Ryan Wiggins, the expert on Gen Z, when we come back.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Instagram at The Annie Frey Show.
Building a home on the Illinois side of the river, I want you to connect with C.A. Jones. Give them the opportunity to show you why so many people building homes in Illinois choose C.A. Jones. It starts with a visit to their website. Right now, pop up cajonesinc.com. You can look at, first of all, inventory of brand new homes that are built that you can buy right now by going to cajonesinc.com. So if you've been looking for a house or a home of all various shapes and sizes, C.A. Jones has those homes available for purchase right now. If you are looking to customize your home, I'm talking to you folks who have maybe sent your kiddo off to college and you don't need as much space as you used to, or maybe they've officially moved all their stuff out and you'd like to downsize a little bit, but you want something nice. You want something that is yours, something that you helped create. You can do that at C.A. Jones. They are affordable homes in the Illinois side of the river that are beautiful, that are reliable, and that they come with great confidence in the build. They provide a 10-year builder limited warranty that includes a lifetime waterproof basement warranty. Learn more by going online to cajonesinc.com. You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is hiring licensed journeymen. Don't have a journeyman license? Air Comfort Service will help you get it. Get guaranteed hours year-round and more. Apply online at aircomfortservice.com.
Transport to Margaritaville, Busch Stadium style, on Friday, September 1st, when the Cardinals take on the Pirates. With the purchase of a special themed ticket, fans will receive a Margaritaville-inspired long-sleeve performance hoodie. Come early for a pregame concert by the Boat Drunks. A portion of each ticket sold will be donated to Jimmy Buffett's charity, Singing for Change. Change your latitude and float on down to Busch Stadium for Margaritaville night. For tickets or more info, visit cardinals.com/theme.
This is Miles Michaelis. Don't miss a legendary moment at Busch Stadium.
Hola amigos, this is Cardinals Spanish broadcaster Polo Asensio inviting you to join me for Fiesta Cardenales presented by He Gets Us on Sunday, September 3rd. With the purchase of a theme ticket, fans will receive a Cardinals cap designed by St. Louis artist Becky Luna. Come early for a pregame fiesta event in the Budweiser Terrace with live music by Tropical Mood of St. Louis. That's Sunday, September 3rd, Fiesta Cardenales. For tickets or more info, visit cardinals.com/fiesta.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof, Frederick Roofing.
Over 90,000 satisfied customers since 1929. Frederick Roofing, 314-645-2000.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands to treat ED at up to 95% off. That's right, the same active ingredient as the brand name for 95% less. It's the same ED medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
If you want to lose weight, I've got a great idea for you. Mark Cox here for my friends at Victory Men's Health. They're now offering FDA-approved semaglutide. They have tremendous results with this medication. The average patient loses 15% of their body weight. Men and women can get semaglutide from Victory Men's Health at any of their 3 locations. Be sure and book your appointment today online at victorymenshealth.com.
Wiggins America coming up next, and then at 105, Jim Carafano, senior counselor to the president at EW. No, that is not correct. Jim Carafano from the Heritage Foundation going to talk about the Hawaiian situation, and I want to listen to his objective analysis of how Biden has handled that. I'm looking forward to that, and you should stick around for 105. The time right now, 12:50. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Hey, I'm asking you to save a life. I'm Mark Reardon, inviting you to join us for our annual blood drive in memory of Brett Bloom. Call 800-RED-CROSS or visit redcrossblood.org and use sponsor code KMOX.
I got this feeling.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
Turn it on. Off from my city, off from my home. We're flying up no ceiling when we in our zone. I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my body when it drops.
I'm really uncomfortable
Wiggins! Oh, Wiggins!
with how people are talking to you on the live chat right now. There's something about Ryan Wiggins today that looks pretty good to the audience.
Yeah, I want to look up a couple of those comments.
You have to do the Wiggins. You have to do your segment. You can't read comments right now.
They're all about how good I look.
I know. That's why I don't. do
Ryan
it.
looking smoking today, hotter than a Ryan on a Tuesday.
Is this what Wiggins America is? Is this how
Nope.
good you look?
No, it can be.
You wore your.
You want
nice,
to stay here?
You did wear your nice shirt today.
No, I did not. You know what? I like this shirt.
It's last time you wore it. It looked as though you may have
Thrown it in the corner.
Worn it one time before that.
It had been sitting in some sort of
Pile.
hot car probably
Anywho.
after an event, and it was very wrinkly. I washed it.
It looks
just
good.
for you, and
Apparently,
people are noticing.
it looks great. I mean, guys, calm down. Jeez.
Yeah. I mean, the heat is one thing,
The
but
heat is on.
that is a different thing entirely. Talking about my looks. Let's talk about Gen Z a little bit. I'm the expert on Gen Z, as you know, so I wanted to bring you a bunch of things that people anybody older than Gen Z doesn't get about Gen Z.
Walrus King thinks your lighting is fantastic. Go on.
Oh, that's wrong. It's not the lighting. It's everything but that.
When?
Courtney Cox always said it was the lighting. I disagree. Here are some things that Gen Z does that we all either can't figure out or need to figure out. First one. What is it with the way they send emails? I was working with a few Gen Zers, this person says, to get something done. Instead of sending one email with the necessary information, I got many separate emails full of piecemeal information and zero context. I find this to be not only very true, but also very, very annoying, whether it's email or text or anything else. Apparently you agree.
I think I don't know how much I agree, but I think it sounds super annoying.
Whenever I get texts like this, regardless of whether they're from somebody from Gen Z, which would be weird, I get texts from my wife that do this often that say one piece of information, then another text, then another text.
Text is different. Emails, in my opinion, should be communication that should be referenceable. If you're sending it in an email, it's because you need to have a thought that has details that would get lost in text messaging or like Facebook Messenger or something like that. If it's in an email, it should be like a plan of some sort or a specific ask that has the necessary details. I don't know any other purpose for an email.
Yeah.
My dad, like as years ago, but I was going through my email and I maybe go through my personal email like once a month. And I was going through and I'm like, oh my gosh, my dad sent me an email. And it was like, hey, want to go to Zapata's tonight? I was like, oh man, I missed out on the margs.
Yes,
so
you did.
I told Dad, like, if you don't want me to come, email me. If you want me to be there, text, phone call.
Email provides you a little bit of separation. Whereas if you're texting somebody, you know that person at least fairly well.
Mm-hmm.
The next one, why does it seem like Gen Z skipped the awkward phase? They come out of elementary school knowing how to coordinate outfits and drink Starbucks. They look like professionals.
It's because all they do is look at people who are pretending to be professionals. They don't know how to be professionals, but they know how to pose.
I agree.
That's a big statement.
And this is an important acknowledgement that they seem to really understand how to present themselves in ways that we, as the previous generations, you look back at pictures or things. We didn't know what we were doing.
You know why? Because we never saw ourselves.
Yeah, that's very true.
Here's the deal. Somebody should have said something.
But it's not just looks. It's not just looks, though. It's even the ability to communicate outside of person-to-person communication.
Yeah, not in human presence.
Yeah, which brings me to my next one. Why do all of Gen Zers tend to be shy, socially anxious, and act like they don't want to be the center of attention, all while posting every single selfie and dance video of yourself online?
Because they don't know how to be around people. And then the Democrats that were running the government after Donald Trump got done with it made it like this is normal. Losers.
How about this
I'm
one?
talking about the Democrats, not the Gen Zers.
Oh, I might be. Their desire, there being Gen Z's desire to be labeled. It may sound ignorant, but when I was in high school, people hated being labeled.
Yeah.
But now it seems like Gen Zers want their labels on display, whether it's their sexuality or their learning differences or their problems.
Yeah.
It's their brand.
The rebels. Yes.
It's from social media. It's all about branding.
I think you hit it.
This is all vomit-inducing.
I think you hit it. It is all about brand.
What a burden.
To make yourself into a label?
To have to be a brand. No wonder children are thinking that they need to identify their gender. They need to do it for everybody else. It's very rarely for themselves when they start to, quote unquote, explore, because of everything that they're consuming. It forces you to ask the question, but what about me? And if you're always asking those questions instead of exploring things naturally as they come to you, because everything is being presented to you like it's a brand, well said, it's not reality. That's the problem. It is a bastardized version of reality.
And I never really thought about that fact until I read that this morning, putting this together. But that is very true. I was on the bubble of Gen X. And Gen X was all about, don't label me.
Yeah, and he was like, do
not.
I want to be a boomer? Do I want to be a Gen Xer? I'm going with Gen X.
Yeah, I was right on the border of Gen X. Thank you for going in that direction with it. Last one, cancel culture. Many Gen Zers act like people are completely incapable of learning to be better and instead only focus on one bad thing someone said or did a million years ago or something was taken out of context.
Wait, they're for it or against it?
They're for basically keeping people in the box of whatever I know you as, that nobody could ever get better.
This is still part of that branding mentality, that branding ideology. A lot of that stuff comes out of the social media. This is the brand. That's your brand. So
I would say with this one, they have learned to not forgive from all of media around them.
Yeah,
they've grown up in that environment.
It's always important to remember that the generation that is going through that awkward time of learning how to do life, they learned it from somebody. Scooter wants to know if this is the Get Off My Lawn segment.
It
Wiggins?
is.
It is?
Yeah.
All right.
Scooter, get off my stream.
Jim Carafano on the crisis in Hawaii when we return.
Attention business owners, this is John Souza, CEO of ERTC.com. The Employee Retention Tax Credit Program provides up to $26,000 per W-2 employee. If you're confused about the program, stop right now before it's too late. Don't fall for false promises and risk your business. All ERTC companies are not the same. The bottom line, there's no such thing as guaranteed eligibility, and being innovative with tax filings can lead to an audit. At ERTC.com, we won't mislead you to attest to your own eligibility. At ERTC.com, everything is done in-house by expert CPAs, and there's no cost to get started. With the ERTC.com Fast Track Refund Program, you may qualify to get your refund in as soon as 48 hours. Get started today at ERTC.com.
Get your free refund information now. 800-200-6640. 800-200-6640. That's 800-200-6640.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Tragedy on the first day of school. Lisa Brady, Fox News. A school bus involved in a deadly crash in Ohio, west of Columbus.
The Ohio State Patrol says a school bus with 52 children aboard had tried to avoid an oncoming SUV that crossed the center line on State Route 41 in Lawrenceville.
After contact, the school bus traveled off the right side of the roadway and overturned.
Trooper Tyler Ross says 23 students were injured, one seriously.
There was one student that succumbed to fatal injuries at the scene of the crash. They were ejected from the school bus.
The cause of the crash is under investigation.
Fox's Jeff Panasso, the Northwestern Local Schools District, which started classes today, set up a parent reunification center. Just getting reports, all children and adults have been rescued from a cable car in Pakistan, where they were crossing a canyon to get to school when one of the cables snapped, leaving the car suspended more than 1,000 feet above ground. Army commandos dangling from helicopters for that rescue mission. Former President Trump says he'll turn himself in Thursday to be booked in Georgia's election interference case against him and 18 others. Former Trump attorney John Eastman surrendered today, calling the indictment bogus. His attorney David Wolf says their defense will be the law.
And the rightful opportunities that we had to challenge the numbers and
to determine whether or not there were more miscast votes than the margin of victory. It didn't matter if they were Republican or Democrat.
He denies any illegal effort to challenge the 2020 results. Trump has called the case his fourth indictment, part of an ongoing witch hunt. 8 of the other Republicans running for president are prepping for tomorrow night's first GOP debate on Fox.
Everyone's preparing a little bit differently. Vivek Ramaswamy out there playing tennis. Other people are spending hours on those preparations. Only 2 of the candidates will be up there have done this before. That's former Vice President Mike Pence and former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie.
Fox's Alexis McAdams in Milwaukee. America's listening to Fox News.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
Reggie was a nurse for 16 years.
I had become very burnt out. I wasn't making good money.
Then it happened.
There was an ad for My Computer Career, and it just spoke to me.
My Computer Career was the best decision he ever made.
I could study anywhere from my laptop, and I was working in the first couple weeks of me being in class.
Reggie hit a home run.
The field is teeming with jobs.
Become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
The school is amazing.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu. This is one student's experience. Individual results.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
It's a soupy summer atmosphere across St. Louis on this Tuesday afternoon. Sunny, hot, and humid. 100 degrees. The heat index peaking out at 115. That will happen between 4 and 5 o'clock this afternoon. Tonight, partly to mostly clear. 90s for evening plans. 78 for the low. Kind of brutal out there. Wednesday, sunny, hot, and humid. Near 100 again. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
It's getting to be that time of year where you're going to be thinking about your issues with your nose, with the way you breathe, allergies as they set in, aching ears, circumstances that you've been dealing with for a long time, and you think it's just that time of year again, time to suffer. What if I told you that it isn't? Go to gatewaydrs.com and introduce yourself to some of the amazing ENTs that exist at Gateway ENT. I know Dr. Hardiman personally. I know people in my life personally who have gone to see Dr. Hardiman and had issues that they've been experiencing for a long time, even treated by other medical professionals. Dr. Hardiman was the one who was able to fix their problem for them. And it's not just Dr. Hardiman. There are a host of ENTs there, and they are all as good as the next one. If you were thinking, gosh, it'll take forever for me to get in, no. That's not the case. When you reach out to Gateway ENT at gatewaydrs.com, you are going to be able to get in to see one of St. Louis's best ENTs in the entire area, and quickly. 314-843-3828. 314-843-3828. Check them out online at gatewaydrs.com.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw with Retirement Advisor Group. Are you worried about market volatility? Are you concerned your money won't last you through retirement?
Hi, I'm Tammy Kershaw. As a family business, we are committed to protecting your retirement, whether you're nearing retirement or already retired. I have many female clients and widows that don't fully understand their investment choices. Would you like a retirement review and a second opinion on your current retirement plan? Are you aware of all the fees that you are currently paying, and would you like to learn how you can avoid those fees? Call us now at 314-993-9494 or go online to retirementkey.com. And just for coming in, you'll get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. Let us show you how to retire with confidence.
We've been helping retirees and pre-retirees for the past 37 years. Let our family help your family. So go online to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Mark Cox here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how to link to the market without the risk. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go online to retirementkey.com.
AMCO presents Bet You Didn't Know.
Bet you didn't know that your car's transmission is made up of 800 pieces. Also, bet you didn't know that AMCO's fixed over 40 million transmissions, and that AMCO offers a nationwide warranty.
AMCO offers easy payment plan options for most any credit situation, so you can fix it fast and pay it off slow. At AMCO,
That's AMCO, AA, MCO.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
I'm Jim Onder. When you're injured and in your darkest hour, Onder Law is not only on your side, we're by your side.
Onder Law. Call 314 or 618-9000 to learn more.
The debate watch party at Dave & Buster's is full. But don't worry, you can hear the whole thing on 97.1. Coverage starts at 8 with a GOP primary debate, and we'll carry the whole event live Wednesday night on 97.1 FM Talk. This hour of the Annie Frey Show is brought to you by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
I don't want to compare difficulties, but we have a little sense, Jill and I, what it's like to lose a home. Years ago, now 15 years ago, I was in Washington doing Meet the Press. It was a sunny Sunday, and lightning struck at home on a little lake that's outside of our home, not a lake, a big pond, and hit a wire and came up underneath our home into the heating ducts, the air conditioning duct. To make a long story short, I almost lost my wife, my 67 Corvette, and my cat.
That's President of the United States after he finally decided to make a comment on Hawaii, in Hawaii, on Maui. And I am really, as a Christian, trying to suppress the hatred that I'm developing for this man. Not dissatisfaction with his job as the President of the United States and his policies, but the callous nature of this man is beginning to pierce my emotions in a way that I don't want to feel about another human. Let's get to our friend Jim Carafano, senior counselor to the president and E.W. Richardson Fellow for International Engagement at the Heritage Foundation. Jim Carafano, thank you for being with us today, Jim. I'll tee it up for you. The president's final finality of his response to what is taking place in Lahaina. What's your reaction to that?
Well, one, like everybody else, I'm just speechless. But he is consistent. He is not the consoler in chief. He's the bystander in chief and the tourist in chief. But I think back, for example, when the Challenger thing blew up, and Reagan went on TV and made, I think, the most comforting, inspirational. I mean, I don't even know who wrote that, but it was just everything he said was perfect. I mean, he consoled the nation, and this was not that. But my first response to this is somebody, kind of grew up in the Homeland Security space when I started Heritage. That was my space. And so disaster response was something that, I worked on a lot. I went down for Deepwater Horizon. I went down after Hurricane Katrina, went to a number of different disasters working for Heritage. And what really struck me is that the difference in the media treatment between Bush and Katrina, Trump and Puerto Rico, and Biden here. I mean, this is, arguably, the state and local response is the real root of the disaster, and probably deserves a lion's share of the criticism. But the response in both Katrina and Puerto Rico were absolutely politics. It was aimed at attacking and degrading the president. Didn't matter what the truth on the ground was. Didn't matter what the federal response was. Didn't matter the context. And nothing mattered except the fact that they had to attack President Bush and and President Trump for political gain. Here we see exactly the opposite. It doesn't matter what the facts on the ground are. The media's job is to shield the president from any claim of responsibility. And the other thing, which is just completely egregious, is anytime there's an extreme weather event, and extreme weather can be anything. It can be heat wave, wildfire, drought, hurricane, tornado, you name it. The first answer is, well, this is climate change. Mm-hmm. When the science is actually very, very clear on this, there is no correlation between extreme weather events and climate change. Even the climate yahoos say this. And yet this is the buzzword, which we're just supposed to accept that what this means is no matter what goes wrong, we need more woke. When in reality here, the real rooted disaster is that state and local officials really failed the people on the ground.
We're speaking with Jim Carafano about the tragedy that took place in Lahaina on Maui in Hawaii, and the president made his way there. I mean, I've heard people discuss, the presence of the president of the United States can be very disruptive. So some people say, we don't need the president on the ground immediately because it hinders the ability to recover anything that can be recovered. When it comes to the American people and our brothers and sisters in Hawaii right now, is there a historical significance to this fire and this tragedy and what it has done to that island that is being overlooked because our attentions are easily swayed in other directions?
Well, I mean, the reason why these extreme weather events cause more destruction is people increasingly live in higher population, in higher densities, in places where there are extreme events. It's true for the tsunami in Japan. It's true for hurricanes in Florida and Texas. The reason why there's more destruction from hurricanes is not because we have more hurricanes or more powerful hurricanes. It's more people live in hurricane zones. So, and look, it's a free country. If people want to live in these places, get that. But then you have to invest in the preparedness and response to make sure that you can deal with these disasters. I personally think that of all the disasters you can have, mass deaths from a forest fire is completely inexcusable. I mean, there is a forest fire, you evacuate people immediately, and you err on the side of caution. And the exact opposite was done here. And I mean, there was no warning. And look, the reality is, you cannot outrun a fire.
Right.
This is, and if you remember, there's this really famous. There's a great book on this, Men in Fire. There's a folk song about this, about these jump guys that were parachuted in to fight a small fire, and it raged out of control, and they ran uphill, which is a bad thing because you can't outrace a fire, and all but a handful of them died. But when fires move, they move fast, and there is no way to protect people from it. And the only way to really protect people is to either stop the fire or move the people. And in this case, neither was done. And I see this as just a completely needless tragedy.
Jim Carafano joining us right now. We're talking about the fire crisis in Hawaii, and I'm trying to follow this story, but the horrific nature of some of the details that really have just begun to come out, it's very hard for me to consume it, and maybe I have a responsibility to do that. So I'll keep covering it and researching it. But there were sirens. They didn't run the sirens, and there are reasons. They said that if they would have run the sirens, that means tsunami, which means people would have run to the place that the fire was coming from, and that would have potentially caused danger. They didn't have water access as soon as they should. How do all of these things fail at the same time?
Well, okay. Well, first of all, when you live in a tsunami zone and a forest fire zone, this is something that maybe you ought to think about beforehand. That as part of your public information, public awareness, and public safety campaign, that you can distinguish between tsunamis and forest fires. And so the fact that they had a situation where they were afraid that people were confused, that in itself is beyond inexcusable. I mean,
it's
completely beyond inexcusable. Yeah. I mean, look, tsunamis are, maybe you normally, with tsunamis, because you get a fair amount of warning, and it's really not hard. It's like, dude, just get uphill.
Yeah.
And so it is. So that kind of alert is really, really important. But it's the same way in forest fires. I mean, this is an area that was prone to forest fires. You just have to prepare for these things. And where you have a dense population, it's even more important. So once a disaster strikes, there's very little you can do other than experience the horror of the disaster. When there's a mass fire, and there's nothing you can do, and there's almost no way you can survive. Same thing if you're there when the tsunami hits. 99% of preventing death is by actions that you take before the disaster. It's just like a tornado. Most people die in a tornado because they don't take very, very basic protective measures. One is you get watches and warnings in a tornado. You take them seriously, and then you get to a place where you're going to be protected, whether it's a bathroom in the middle of the house or in the basement, or you get off the road. You get out of people that die normally are people that are on the road. They're exposed, and that's why they die. A lot of these deaths are preventable, but it's all about the preparation beforehand. And again, I'm sorry, especially on an island, which the logistics of disaster response are always harder because you got to get there, you got to get people on, you got to get people off. And when you have a dense population, you have to be really serious about this. It's not, and the thing is we've been focused. I mean, theoretically, we've had the Great Mississippi Flood, and we've had the San Francisco earthquake and the San Francisco fire, but after 9/11, we got together as a country and we said, oh, well, we're going to take disaster preparedness seriously. And it's obviously that they really haven't. And as somebody that's been in this business for 20 plus years, I just find it, kind of inexcusable, to be honest.
Jim, when I'm looking,
it's like,
go ahead.
Well, no, I was going to say, like Katrina, I think that was a preventable disaster too, but much of the criticism was about the disaster response. And this is also true in Puerto Rico. But once the disaster happens, dude, the damage is done. Puerto Rico's an island. It's hard to get to. If you don't have an emergency management system in place, if you don't have a resilient electrical grid, then you're you're done. I mean, the same thing in Louisiana. It was a terrible disaster response preparedness, bad plans, and then they blame the people. And then the difference, of course, is okay, maybe there's actually not a lot that the federal government can do in the wake of this disaster, but that didn't stop them from going after. And the problem with this is, these are moments of education. People pay attention to disasters because they've lived with them in their lives, or they see these experiences. And then what happens is we just all go back to sleep. But when these things happen, people need to pay attention, because you can save your life and your family in a lot of these situations if you just do very basic, simple, smart things. And if your community is well organized and they invest appropriately in these things, this stuff doesn't have to happen. If this is not, God didn't do this to us. We did this to ourselves.
I think it's a very good point of emphasis to suggest that anybody who's watching what's taking place there, make sure that you know what your community's plans are and what processes they have in place right now for any sort of specific emergency, and take those cautionary measures seriously so that you know how to protect your family in an instance like this. It is horrific. And I was not comforted by the president's visit or his words. But at this point, I don't know that we should expect to be.
Well, the other kind of story, again, which we don't talk about because the media doesn't want to talk about this, is so he immediately says, "Oh, well, now we need billions, more damage for disaster response." Well, why is that? Well, we have depleted the disaster response fund because we diverted all of it to supporting illegal aliens and a bunch of COVID stuff, much of which was just nonsense, just kind of wasteful spending. Here's some COVID money, go, build a gym or something like that. And then they turn right around and say, "Oh, well, now we need more money." Look, Department of Homeland Security. What do they do? They're out, censoring people and investigating them and basically running the world's largest human trafficking network. We created the Department of Homeland Security to deal with disaster response and this stuff, and they're not doing their day job. And then we waste all this money, and then these things happen, and then we need to spend more money. This is a very powerful moment for people to understand what the consequences of, honestly, for woke government, for people who have more important things to do other than, the basic blocking and tackling and of running a community or state or country for that matter.
Yep, it's a wake-up call, and I know there are a lot of people and families that are going to need our prayers as Maui and Lahaina look to recover. Jim, thanks for kind of going off the normal beaten path in our conversations and talking about this, because I think it's a story that's not getting enough attention. So I'm glad you helped us with that today.
No, that's just stuff I know about. Yeah. Even though I am. By the way, the reason why I'm in Budapest. Right? I opened for Tucker Carlson.
Really?
I'm not joking. There's this fest, and he's talking, and we just did a panel before he talked, and then after him there's a big gypsy band.
Ooh, you were living
sounds like really cool.
Yeah, you were living the life, Jim Carafano. Thanks for letting us share a little part of it this afternoon.
All right, thanks for having me.
Of course. Bye-bye. Senior counselor to the president and E.W. Richardson Fellow for International Engagement at the Heritage Foundation, Jim Carafano, our friend here on the Annie Frey Show. And, if you've looked into the stories that are coming out of Hawaii, it does not take me long until I go, I think I need to walk away from this for a second. And that's how horrific it is. And it's going to get worse. And then it's going to get worse. And we're going to continue to cover it here because it's a story that deserves our attention. It's not a political conversation. It's a human conversation. It's tragic. And literal thoughts and prayers to all of the people of Lahaina and those who are connected to Lahaina as they recover from such an awful, awful tragedy. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about the YouTube live chat poll today. Will Joe Biden be the 2024 Democrat nominee? Not a new question on the Annie Frey Show, one we've revisited, but I think leading into the GOP debate tomorrow evening, I think it's important to know who the opponent is. Is the opponent Donald Trump, or is the opponent Joe Biden, or is the opponent an unnamed Democratic nominee? Today's YouTube live chat poll on the Annie Frey YouTube channel, will Joe Biden be the 2024 Democrat nominee? Yes or no? Leave us your comments, and I will read a few of them when we return. We'll be right back.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter @Annie Frey Show.
So the Midwest Wing Fest, I love this event. It's in Illinois. It's in Fairview Heights. MidwestWingFest.com/events. Get your VIP tickets. They're on sale right now. And this VIP tent, will sell out. So I want to get as many Annie Frey Show listeners in there so we can have a little party on Friday, September 1st. I'll be there in the evening celebrating everything, Labor Day and our first responders and our military families. And just in general, wrapping up summer in one of the coolest ways possible. At Midwest Wing Fest in Fairview Heights, Illinois, there's legendary food and music. It's a festival that benefits combat wounded soldiers and families of local fallen heroes. It's a great way to participate in something incredibly fun that has a wonderful cause with your participation. I will be there September 1st, which is Friday, in the evening, working on specific times right now, but it happens September 1st, Friday, and September 2nd, and you will not want to miss this event. Great for the entire family. Learn all about it at MidwestWingFest.com.
Imagine what your backyard could look like once my friends from Chesterfield Fence and Deck have been there. Mark Cox here. Listen, mention my name, mention Mark, and get 48 months interest-free financing on your next outdoor project with Chesterfield Fence and Deck. They've been around for 55 years. They are one of St. Louis' top names in home improvements with a commitment to quality and professionalism. And you know that you have their sign in your yard. It's a sign you have the very best. Locally owned and operated for 55 years. They will come to your house, give you a free estimate at no obligation, free project design as well. They'll take measurements. They'll show you all of their product offerings right there at your house, or you can go to their showroom if you need that extra inspiration. But they do fences, they do decks, they do custom sunrooms and screen rooms and pergolas. Take advantage of it. A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Go online today and check them out at chesterfieldfence.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-700-6898. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898 or biglou.com.
What's holding you back from learning the language you've always wanted to know?
Too hard.
Takes too long.
Not with Babbel. Babbel's lessons take just 15 minutes a day.
15 minutes isn't long.
Nope. And they're fun.
Fun isn't hard.
Right. Babbel's interactive lessons, podcasts, games, and more make it fun and engaging, so you don't realize you're learning a language, but you are. And Babbel's lessons are built around real life. You can choose from topics like travel, business, relationships, and more. You'll learn what matters most to you. Plus, Babbel's lessons are designed to get you speaking right away. In 3 weeks, you're able to start having conversations.
Just 3 weeks? Even better.
Since Babbel's lessons are designed by language experts and voiced by real native speakers, you'll get the accents just right and be able to carry on conversations with confidence.
Learning a language with Babbel doesn't take long.
And with Babbel, it isn't hard.
It's perfect.
And now, try Babbel free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Surprise! Surprise! You know, surprise parties, they can be fun, right? Well, financial surprises, not so much, especially when you're retired, like finding out you owe more in taxes than you thought you would, or having to go back to work to make ends meet. Maybe you think you'll be okay, but why not double check just to be sure? Call Marvin Mitchell at Compass Retirement Solutions and schedule a retirement double check. Marvin and his team have been helping families plan for retirement for more than 15 years. Call 314-373-1598 to schedule your retirement double check with Marvin Mitchell at Compass Retirement Solutions. That's 314-373-1598. Don't let a financial surprise derail your retirement dreams. Give Marvin and the team a call, 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services, investments, and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and in Illinois.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is celebrating 54 years of residential and commercial service, maintenance, and installation of heating and cooling systems. Get in your comfort zone. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
The Mark Reardon Show.
It's going to be a big Tuesday afternoon show. Fox's Peter Ducey will preview the debate in Milwaukee, and Missouri AG Andrew Bailey joins me at 5:07.
Weekdays from 3 to 6 on 97.1 FM Talk. This is the Annie Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
What's the boss's name? I said, how you doing, pal? Boots on too. You guys catch the boots out here? That's some hot ground, man.
So that was President Biden in Hawaii talking about, I think, boots that a dog was wearing and referencing the ground in Hawaii and saying that's some hot ground, man. I mean, what a disaster this president is. From a PR standpoint, I find it incredibly ironic that the way that America chose Joe Biden over Donald Trump is that they wanted Joe Biden to be the adult in the room. They wanted Joe Biden to be the person we could relate to. And when we were speaking with Marc Lotter at 12:25 on the show, which you can rewind on the Odyssey app, he was saying, you know, listen, we see people have these bumper stickers that say, you know, I would take some mean tweets and $2 gas right now. That is a whole sentiment. That is a bumper sticker sentiment that everybody relates to. And what Marc Lotter said there was, we're not electing somebody to be our grandpa or our father. We're not electing somebody who is going to raise our children. That's our job. Unless you think otherwise, then of course you should probably vote for the other people because they're poised and ready to raise your children. Isn't it one of the great ironies that I think is an important distinction that should be talked about? It's not the whole point, but the guy who was sold to us as somebody who could, you know, he's a great father and he's a great grandpa. Maybe he's a great grandpa. He's a wonderful grandfather. He is, Uncle Joe, like all of these familial relationships that you're supposed to see Joe Biden go, he's like one of mine. He's like one of ours. He hasn't been a great father. He hasn't been a great, wonderful grandfather. He doesn't even claim all of his grandchildren. When you look at the relationships that he has with many people in his life, in his personal family life, there is a lot of turmoil there. When you look into how Jill Biden and Joe Biden became a couple, it's scandalous. He isn't those things. Now, I know that you're reflexive. Oh, and Donald Trump is so much better? Folks, he never pretended to be. Joe Biden sold you a lie that he was somebody he isn't, and everybody is so gleeful to have an alternative to Donald Trump that they just took it hook, line, and sinker. And this man is corrupt to the core. He uses his family, he pimps out his family to line his own pockets. He lives in million-dollar mansions and enjoys the lap of luxury that the American taxpayer has provided him via his elected positions, and we're supposed to think that he's one of us? Donald Trump knows more about your existence and cares more about your existence than Joe Biden ever did. All you've ever been to Joe Biden is a means to an end. And I'm hoping that the end is near. I'm talking about his political career, guys. Knock it off. Ryan.
I thought you were talking about him dying.
I wouldn't do that. It'd be rude. And completely unlikely.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. Clearly, he's doing fine. When I heard that clip, I said, I don't have any idea what's going on. That must be the president of the United States.
That's my president.
That's my president.
No, you say like that. That's my president.
But you're right. What was packaged and sold, and it really was, it was packaged and sold by mostly the media, also the Democrat machine, was so completely different than the actuality. And that's true of Trump, too. What was packaged and sold to you is that this guy is nuts, and he's going to be a nightmare, and he's going to create chaos. And so you know what they did? They made him into a nightmare while he was president, even though he's getting good results, and they created chaos, and they made people uncomfortable with him. Joe Biden, they've done the opposite.
Imagine an honest press in both scenarios.
I can't. That's some sort of fictional fantasy world.
I mean, seriously, think about it. Think about getting to the bottom of the Russia collusion story in the very beginning. I mean, here's where people come in and go, well, actually. The actually that you spell with a
Thanks,
K.
neckbeard.
Yeah. Well, actually.
Well, actually. Well, hang on there just a second.
Yeah. And you start explaining how there's like hotels in Russia or whatever it is. And Donald Trump did have connections to Russia. It's like he did not steal the election.
He hosted the Miss Universe pageant,
Yeah.
if I recall.
Yeah. I mean, it's tiring. Go on, do more.
No, it's fine.
The 13
There's
Russians.
more in there.
They actually caught 13 Russians who were buying ads on Facebook.
Yeah, and they literally were like, nobody was persuaded by it. And Zuckerbucks was like, we'll fix that in 2020.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely got to the bottom of all that Russia collusion. They found that people were buying ads on Facebook. And then Facebook became all ads, if you've noticed.
Yeah, that and affinity groups that you're involved in.
Yes.
I'm not really sure if I have any friends anymore.
I don't think I do. Yeah, because I've posted things. I thought, oh, everybody's going to see everything you post now because apparently nobody's posting anything. That's why they got all these ads. And then I post something with my daughter the other day. I'm like, oh, did you see that? And you're like, no. So they're not even letting you see the stuff.
But at the
that
same
does get
time,
posted.
like I don't scroll on Facebook like I used to because you don't see the stuff. So
Yeah,
it's
there's
kind of
nothing there.
it's cyclical. I mean, maybe I would see it if I were on there scrolling like I maybe used to see what my friends are up to. But because some of the ads I get, we've talked about this before. Facebook knows that I'm married to my husband. They know because his birthday is in there when his birthday is. Facebook will send you ads of things leading up to Christmas, leading up to a birthday of a significant person in your life that you might want to buy for them. And you're thinking, why would I want men's underwear? And then you're like, oh, maybe my husband does. And maybe he would like that. And maybe I should buy that for him. I mean, it's very 4D chess in the way the system and the algorithm is trying to reach you. And when you don't think it makes sense, there's some part of the algorithm that has come together to say, this does make sense. And we know it, and you don't.
Yeah. You're 41, sir. You're 40. You may want a shirt that hides your belly a little bit better.
I get a ton of those.
I bet you do.
Are you offended by that?
Nah.
Have you
Because I
ever
kind
bought
of
one?
want to hide my belly a little better.
Do you want one of those shirts?
I don't just want one. I'm not just I don't just desire one. I'm a client.
When are you going to wear that
I've never
shirt?
bought their brand, though. I want credit for that. I never fallen for their schemes. I bought my own.
I'm very interested, and I don't mind buying and supporting businesses that are advertising on Facebook. And, maybe they're local businesses, not like maybe local, but small businesses, startups or whatever. I want to support them, but I just assume that if I order anything on there, I'm going to forget that I bought it by the time that it arrives, if it does.
Oh, I've bought stuff on Marketplace before, which, by the way,
Marketplace is different.
both a wonderful thing to do and also one of the best indicators that America is very unreliable.
What are you buying on Marketplace?
But I have bought on Marketplace things, and I give them a shot. I gave them a shot because I thought maybe they have a good system for this.
Can I interject real quick?
Yes, go ahead.
Because there's a distinction that I want to understand before we continue.
Yes.
Are you just on Facebook Marketplace, or are you shopping in a community group that utilizes the Marketplace infrastructure?
For this one, I'm talking about overall Marketplace. And
I don't go there.
And I know that we were just talking about the ads and the products and the ads, which is a different thing too. But the Marketplace overall, not in a community. I bought something from far away and had it shipped. And one time it worked. And I thought, oh, well, they've got a pretty good system here. So I bought a T-ball bat or something for my son. Never seen that thing. No idea where the money is. And I'll never do it again.
I think that was a poor decision to buy something that was going to be shipped to you off Marketplace.
Well, I did it once and it worked though. And then the second time.
I think that was a poor decision as well, but you got lucky.
I do too. Yeah. That was like when I first used eBay and was like, oh, yeah, I'll send somebody cash in the mail. That's a great idea. Yeah, sure, to the Middle East. I'm sure they'll send me my CD.
Scooter says a button-down shirt would hide your belly, Mr. W.
It does, Scooter. I just said that. I know that, and I have practiced that. I have that shirt, Scooter.
A button-down shirt?
Oh, a button-down? No.
What did you think I said?
I thought he said just a built, like there's a brand that is for that. I think it's called Built. BYLT.
I don't understand where you're going with this. He was just suggesting that you wear a button-down shirt. He wants to elevate the class of the people who aren't seen for a living, except for here on YouTube.
Yeah, and I want to mention, since this got brought up, girls always talk about how people get judged so much. Brad and I get a lot of comments about the shirts we wear on this shirt.
Yeah.
On this shirt.
Careful.
Show.
Shirts we wear on the shirt.
You're real close.
We wear 2 of them.
Welcome to the Almost Club there. You're one vowel off.
Words. Yeah. But we do. And whenever we wear a collar, man, people light up. People are like, oh.
Let's get you.
I see.
Here's what we need to do.
What's the special occasion?
No, I got a solution. I know I'm getting you for Christmas. Dickies.
The fake turtlenecks?
Yeah.
All right.
Especially today.
I'm not wearing that.
Yeah. I'd wear a dickie today outside. Just a dickie.
And
maybe some
just
pants.
to make it explicitly clear.
And maybe some pants.
Maybe some pants and a dickie. Can you imagine walking outside in downtown St. Louis today and being like, there's a guy wearing tight blue jeans and a dickie?
I think you'd fit right in.
Yeah, it's just a Tuesday.
Let's go dance in the middle of the road.
Yeah, there is somebody who stands in the median on Tucker with regularity with a sign that says spare money.
Oh, is he giving?
No.
I was going to head out there.
I want, these people have to get something for their efforts to continue to do it.
Yeah, especially on a hot day like this.
But I would not really look at the money that I was giving them like it was just extra laying around and I wasn't going to use it. Spare.
Yeah, I wasn't going to use that part anyway.
Yeah. As if I'm not employing it in a specific purchase at that time, then it's of no use to me.
It's just spare money. You know what I really love, though? It is 115,000 degrees out today.
Yeah.
And when there's still, I'm telling you, somewhere, listening right now, somebody is driving by a homeless person who is bundled up, wearing all kinds of coats and stuff, looking like they're...
I hope not.
That happens. People are committed to the showmanship of it.
It might be what they have, though.
Yeah, and
I don't know that
today,
it's showmanship.
You kind of leave that on a pile and you just sit next to it. I don't know that you wear your coats.
I think that if you want to keep it, you do.
I don't know, on a median. I used to see a guy do this in the middle of summer on a median out in Des Peres.
I don't think we know. I think that if everything you have to have with you, or it will be taken from you. I don't think we know.
You may be right, although I didn't think there were a whole lot of other people out there stealing in Des Peres. It was a pretty nice neighborhood. I think he was safe.
With a homeless person out there? Well, if he was out there.
He was the only one.
Did you look everywhere else? It's
Des Peres. There aren't a whole lot of homeless people sitting out there. I used to work out there. And he would just sit there every day in the summer on a median, big full beard, like he was bundled up. And I'm like, dude, it is 95 degrees out here.
Well, I mean, he could have mental concerns. He could have substance abuse problems. There are a lot of reasons why that might be the case.
All of those are also possible.
Yeah. I don't know that our understanding of reality and common sense applies in these situations, which makes it even more sad. And I'll tell you what, go downtown St. Louis and look at how much of a hole it has turned into. There is graffiti everywhere, and we don't even cover it up. It looks, downtown St. Louis looks like it's inner city, and nobody cares. The graffiti, the only time it ever gets covered up is by other graffiti.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a tragedy. And it just continues, the whole broken windows thing. It just continues just the forlorn nature of downtown. It doesn't make you safe to make you feel safe to be down here. And it's very sad. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, I'm going to ask you guys, will Joe Biden be the 2024 Democrat nominee? Yes or no? I need your votes, folks. Come onto the Annie Frey YouTube channel and leave a comment like Joe's comment here. He said, I don't like it. You don't like it. Neither of us want Trump versus Biden again, but this is going to happen again. And he doesn't sound happy about it. What do you say? Go leave us a comment and vote. We'll be right back.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter @AnnieFryShow.
For some of those very reasons that I was just talking about, you want to make sure your business is secure. You need to make sure that your employees are secure. And we have one of the nationally recognized fantastic businesses when it comes to securing and automating entry into your building and exiting of your building at Centric Security and Automation. 314-442-6860. Go online right now and see some of the amazing, affordable features that you can implement to your place of business to make sure that you are safe and secure, that your employees are safe and secure, that your customers and your clients are safe and secure. You go online to centricstl.com. That's Centric with a C, centricstl.com. Visit their website and look around and see how they have a system that might benefit you in your personal circumstances. If you got an old video surveillance system lined up, but all the video cameras aren't working, or maybe sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, it needs to work when the time comes where you need to reference it. Centric Security and Automation can help you get that all up and running with new equipment and use the old lines that you have run. 314-442-6860, centricstl.com.
Learn to make money 5 ways with rental real estate. Double your money with apartments and get your map to financial freedom. And that map starts with a free workshop. Sign up now at lifestylesunlimited.com. Click on the Join Free Workshop tab and attend online or in person. That's lifestylesunlimited.com. Lifestylesunlimited.com. Again, that's lifestylesunlimited.com. Limited seating, unlimited potential.
If you're drowning in IRS debt and can't afford to pay, then you need to take advantage of special IRS tax programs that are available and free yourself from IRS collection efforts once and for all. Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing throughout the country, the Internal Revenue Service has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call the Community Tax Helpline at 800-324-0231. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back, or even if you have years of unfiled tax returns, there's no need to fear anymore. But you have to call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-324-0231 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-324-0231 for your free consultation and to see if you qualify. That's 800-324-0231.
You're hearing a commercial I set out for, and I wish I would have done this years ago, because I mean the trade, we're so done in trades because we're just getting brutalized by the working class. But if you want great service as quick as we can get to you, because we're busy, and reasonable prices, if you call me, I would not waste your time. You will get equipment that will heat and cool your home. If you're looking for a furnace or air conditioner, it broke down, or you just need service, call me. Bart Inman. Again, it's Bart Inman, and with one really easy number, Missouri and Illinois. There's only one number for Missouri and Illinois. It's 314-293-2600, or the internet. Well, that was a large breath. The internet. BartInman.com. That's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof, Frederick Roofing.
Over 90,000 satisfied customers since 1929. Frederick Roofing, 314-645-2000.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-399-9407 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-399-9407. That's 800-399-9407. What do you have to lose? Call 800-399-9407. Again, 800-399-9407.
Will Joe Biden be the 2024 Democrat nominee? It's a question we've asked before, but we want to see how this moves over time. Yes or no? Let us know. It's the Annie Frey YouTube live chat poll of the day. Will Joe Biden be the 2024 Democrat nominee? It is 1:51. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
Awesome. That's what I'm talking about.
97.1 FM Talk.
I look forward to hearing the station all day.
Everyone is welcome. You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Thanks for being here with us today. Hot and toasty Tuesday, so you're staying inside, you're staying cool, and we appreciate you hanging out with us. Some responses to the YouTube live chat poll today from our listeners online. Will Joe Biden be the 2024 Democrat nominee, yes or no? Ripper says, I do think that one way or another, Joe Biden will have to drop out. Sheepdog says, I think he will be the nominee because the progressive Dems like having someone they can wind up and say and do whatever they want. The usefulness of Joe Biden is pretty obvious, considering that, I mean, if you stop and ask yourself for a moment, what does Joe Biden stand for? Can you come up with anything? I mean, other than being like Amtrak Joe, which isn't, I mean, he took the Amtrak, but I mean, like, what does that mean? The entirety of what I feel like Joe Biden's legacy was going to be was that he was an everyman who represented blue-collar America in Washington, D.C. This dude is not blue-collar. He is not one of you. He is not living a life, even pre-presidency.
You know, it's a good question. What does he represent? Because when I'm pressed, I think that all he represents to me is like dirty politics.
I think that's where we are.
And it's because of his presidency, but it was going on long before that. I don't know that he would have been represented that way if he had retired after 2016.
I don't know that people would have noticed it, but I don't know. But he's definitely been that way his whole career. If you just go back and look at the way he spoke and what he talked about and the issues that he championed throughout his career, he just blew whatever way the political winds were blowing. What's going to get me back in office so I can keep doing what I'm doing, so I can stay in power and do my thing? That's what he was all about. That and his '67 Corvette.
If he would have, and his Ray-Bans, if he would have not pursued anything past being a vice president, I think he would have been one of the most beloved politicians in American history.
Yeah, if not beloved, then at least people wouldn't have disliked him. You know, he would have just kind of been this grandpa figure, which is how he was sold. It's
Dirk
exactly what we're talking
says, yes, I believe President Biden will be the Dem nominee. Dems were silly enough to vote for him once. If they don't again, they will be admitting their mistake. G. Wibbs says the only reason they would keep Biden in because he is perfectly suited for the role of puppet. You are kidding yourself if you think Biden is actually running things. KK voted on the YouTube live chat poll, where you can go vote right now. Will Joe Biden be the 2024 Democrat nominee? I vote no. Not sure if he will resign or be removed. I think that that's a very interesting perspective as well, because I honestly believe that the second that his senility causes him to admit something publicly that he shouldn't have said out loud, the very quiet part, very publicly out loud, 25th Amendment, he's senile, does not have his wits about him. He can't continue to be the president of the United States. It's very sad. It's very tragic. That might be the end of it. I am a hard no, with the emphasis on, oh God, please let him be the nominee. too good to be true, I think. I think he won't be. What do you say?
I'm still a yes. I really do believe that he's going to be the guy just because of they've got the puppet strings in him already. They're just going to keep moving those strings around because they've got it.
Brad?
I am a no, and I think he won't be president for medical and health reasons.
All right. Well, you can go tell us what you think. We need more of your comments. We will star them and set them aside and feature more of them in the next hour here on the Annie Frey Show. We spoke with Andy McCarthy right off the start of the show, and we were discussing the mounting controversy around the special counsel appointment of David Weiss. Why this guy? Merrick Garland, why did you choose him to be the person to oversee all of the corruption allegations that exist between Hunter Biden and, yes, the connection to the president of the United States, Joe Biden? Andy McCarthy laid out some of that for us right at the start of the show. So get on the Odyssey app, rewind to about 12:05 and pick that up. We'll be back with more Annie Frey Show for another hour in just a few minutes.
Mark Cox here. Different real estate agents will sell your home for different amounts of money. Don't be fooled into thinking all realtors are created equal, because they're not. Different realtors will get you different results. So the agent you choose to sell your home matters. The experience your agent has, the marketing, the database of buyers, the systems, and the capabilities of your realtor, they all matter. Why? Because how much you sell your home for matters to you. That's why I recommend you call Gloria Liu with your home sold guaranteed realty. According to MLS statistics, Gloria sells her listings for more money than the average agent, and she does it with less hassle. With 20-plus years of experience, our local real estate expert, Gloria Liu, knows how to get you the most money for your home, guaranteed. Gloria offers her sellers multiple selling options, so call her at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
Conditions apply. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
One great thing about Fountains Family Dentistry is that insurance can kind of be a racket, and they offer some great plans if you don't have any insurance, especially for new patients, so you should definitely check that out. But if you do have insurance and you're not really familiar, we have a little bit more of a relationship with our health insurance than our dental because we just don't use it as much. But there are dental providers out there who are not using all of the insurance providers. So if you have a certain insurance, you might not be able to go to your dentist. I'm looking right now. The list is probably 24 long that Fountains Family Dentistry accepts. So I would check with them first because you're likely to be able to be going there and have everything covered by insurance. FountainsFamilyDentistry.com is the place to go. It's just another aspect of how they make it easy on you. Their appointments, everything that you can do right there in one place, it's all easy for you. FountainsFamilyDentistry.com, FountainsFamilyDentistry.com.
Back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
This planet is so incredibly beautiful that I can't get enough of it. I did 950 miles on the Pacific Crest Trail, and Good Feet was with me all the way. Your passion's important, but if your body aches and if your heel feels like you've got a nail stuck in it and won't come out, trust me, it's going to wear you down. The Good Feet store knew what they were talking about and took the time to really dial in what I needed. I hiked 84 miles in the Himalaya and to do it pain-free. You think I'm not grateful for Good Feet?
Get ready for your summer adventures. Come to the Good Feet store today. Call 314-317-9494 or visit one of our 2 locations on Olive west of I-270 in the Plaza with Subway or in Shiloh, Illinois across from Deerbergs.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Individual results may vary. Consult your physician for medical conditions. Visit the website goodfeetstlouis.com. You deserve comfort in your life. Come in for your free test walk today.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
It's debate eve in Wisconsin on Lisa Brady, Fox News, home of the first Republican primary debate of the 2024 presidential race.
People here on the ground say they're looking forward to hearing from these candidates who will be out there talking about policy and introducing themselves to the American public.
Fox's Alexis McAdams in Milwaukee.
Ron DeSantis had a pre-debate party yesterday. The Florida governor shaking hands out there with people in the large crowd. His team tells us they expect DeSantis to be a target on the debate stage. Why? Because they think he is the strongest candidate, saying he is ready to battle it out.
DeSantis running second in the polls behind former President Trump, who has pointed to his large lead as a reason he won't be debating tomorrow night. Trump says he'll turn himself in Thursday to be booked in Georgia's election interference case. There are 18 others also named in that indictment, including former Trump attorney John Eastman, who surrendered at the Fulton County Courthouse today, telling reporters lawful and appropriate means were used to challenge election results, also predicting that Trump will be fully vindicated. A deadly school bus crash under investigation in Ohio. The Highway Patrol says the bus overturned after swerving to avoid a minivan that crossed into the bus's lane. One child killed, 23 injured on the first day of classes for the Northwestern Local Schools District. Recent airport incidents prompting the Federal Aviation Administration to hold safety meetings around the country.
The FAA will bring together pilots, air traffic controllers, airport vehicle drivers, and others to discuss risks that contribute to what have been many close calls, many of which have included planes clipping one another in gate areas and coming close on runways. The National Transportation Safety Board has investigated 7 such incidents since the start of the year. The most recent was earlier this month in San Diego, when a Cessna and a Southwest passenger flight were cleared to use the same runway.
Fox's Gernal Scott. America is listening to Fox News.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
Reggie was a nurse for 16 years.
I had become very burnt out. I wasn't making good money.
Then it happened.
There was an ad for My Computer Career, and it just spoke to me.
My Computer Career was the best decision he ever made.
I could study anywhere from my laptop, and I was working in the first couple weeks of me being in class.
Reggie hit a home run.
The field is teeming with jobs.
Become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
The school is amazing.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu. This is one student's experience. Individual results.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
It's a soupy summer atmosphere across St. Louis on this Tuesday afternoon. Sunny, hot, and humid. 100 degrees. The heat index peaking out at 115. That will happen between 4 and 5 o'clock this afternoon. Tonight, partly to mostly cleared. 90s for evening plans. 78 for the low. Kind of brutal out there. Wednesday, sunny, hot, and humid. Near 100 again. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Preparing for retirement is something that hopefully starts super early in your career, but shifting to retirement is something that happens in your super late 50s, maybe your early 60s, and it is quite a dramatic mental shift to make sure that you are going to be able to go into this thing that you've been in some way, shape, or form thinking about for decades. That's where the Retirement Advisory Group comes in. When you sit down with Thomas Helbig and you sit down with Bob Kershaw or Tammy Kershaw, you quickly get to understand how it is that they have helped so many 97.1 listeners and Annie Frey Show listeners get to that point of a worry-free retirement. It's a relief to listen to what they have to say for free. Doesn't cost you anything to have this retirement review, to hear how they can help you, for them to listen to you and your position on where you are in your retirement, and to have a plan. All it takes is a phone call to set up your first appointment. It costs nothing to have this conversation and to get yourself on the path to that worry-free retirement. 314-993-9494. That's 314-993-9494. You can find them online at retirementkey.com.
If you want to lose weight, I've got a great idea for you. Mark Cox here for my friends at Victory Men's Health. They're now offering FDA-approved semaglutide. They have tremendous results with this medication. The average patient loses 15% of their body weight. Men and women can get semaglutide from Victory Men's Health at any of their 3 locations. Be sure and book your appointment today online at victorymenshealth.com.
1 in 4 car batteries is weak and needs to be replaced. Let the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts test your battery for free. They can also help you find the best Superstart battery for your vehicle. Learn more at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Did you know the average family home takes on 40 pounds of dust per year? It's this dust and debris that can worsen allergies, asthma, and cause discomfort in your home. Call Zero Res today, 314-474-2020. Get $100 off any of their air duct cleaning packages. 474-2020. Online, ZeroResSTL.com.
Hi, this is Brian with Velocity Home Buyers, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and want to sell it fast at a fair price, call me at 314-782-3333. I can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. I buy houses in any condition and any price range in the St. Louis area. I'm a private real estate investor who buys several houses a month, and I want to buy more. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Do you own a house that needs updating, but you don't have the time or money for it? Great, because I love buying outdated houses. I buy vacant houses, job relocation houses, and foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 314-782-3333. That's 314-782-3333.
Critical thinking in critical times. This is St. Louis's home for conservative talk. 97.1 FM Talk. Everyone is welcome. This hour of the Annie Frey Show is brought to you by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. It's hot outside, but it's cool on this show. Thanks for being here. Ryan made me say that.
That sounds like something I would say.
I know.
You're right.
It sounded so.
It's hot. It also sounded like you didn't know where you were going with
stupid. I'm not gonna lie. I was looking for an article in a place that it wasn't.
it. You got to just fill it with something then.
Yeah. So that's how that happened.
It's hot outside, but it's cool in our hearts.
You have a cold heart?
Oh. oh. Whoops.
Is that a no?
No, I have a warm heart.
Yeah, you do actually. It's a very warm heart. Miss Manners, you guys want to dabble in a little Miss Manners?
Yeah, let's do it. Dabbling. I dabble all over.
I love finding out how uncouth I am.
Miss Manners, I do not force my children. Oops. I do not force my children to say please and thank you as long as their tone is kind.
Ooh. Do tell.
So creepy.
Page 6 dudes.
How much do you emphasize in parenting with your children who are of a very impressionable age manners?
A lot.
What manners count in the Wiggins household?
The manners that count actually are pretty similar to that. They are when you speak to somebody, look at them. Don't look away. Don't. And you have to respond too, especially to an adult who says something to you. Don't shy away. Say something back. You don't necessarily have to say, "Sir," but you do have to treat the person like they're there, because that's a big problem when they're this age, 9 years old. They seem to just kind of blow things off.
My grandmother, who's from Australia, it's like a very British tea kind of upbringing that I had. She lived next door. I spent a ton of time over there. I would have tea with my grandmother. I cherish the memories I had sitting at their table in their breezeway having tea while she did the crossword puzzle. I look back and think, was that really as entertaining as it felt to me? And it doesn't matter because it was the time spent with the person much more than the activity. I had put so much sugar in that tea.
I was going to ask. That was my next question was, what kind of tea was it?
Black tea.
Oh, it's just not Earl Grey or something.
If it was, I didn't know that, but it would be loose
English
tea,
breakfast.
and it had there's a word for it.
A steeper.
Maybe, but it's like a spoon, but it has a lid that goes over the top, so the spoon becomes rounded.
Yeah.
And you put the tea leaves in there, and you steep the tea that way.
Steeper.
You know, Americans leave the tea bag in the tea while they drink it, and that is like totally an American thing to do and not a complimentary way.
It's because we're a bunch of hot shots. Stupid British.
Why did you say that like you were in a Western?
Because that's what we do. We're rugged individualists. We carry a 6-shooter, and we drink our teas with the tea bag in it. Just to show the stupid, snotty Brits what for.
I thought we threw our tea in the harbor to do that.
We do a lot of things with our tea. That's one of them.
I feel like this would be a good place to stop and get back to the story
Get
about
back to your wholesome story.
manners.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, you were enjoying tea with your grandmother.
My grandmother.
Yeah, it
whose
was
name
wonderful.
was Norma, but she was from Australia, so she was Norma.
Ah. No, she's from Bloomington, Norma. Still blooming.
Norma, not normal.
No, she was from near Sydney, Australia. Not
Okay.
Bloomington.
So I didn't know what their accent was up there.
Bloomington normal.
Yeah, up in Bloomington.
Kind of like yours. Pretty straight shooting Midwestern.
Don't they say that word a lot, though? Bloomin' in Australia, down under? Don't they say that?
That's at Outback Steakhouse.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure. They get one, yeah, that's where I thought those onions came from Bloomington normal.
You think that's how they grow onions in Australia.
They grow them that way. They deep fry 'em.
That supersedes leaving the tea bag in your tea as the most American thing we've said.
You know
and done
what?
on the
We're a
show
big
today.
melting pot.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You just don't know. Where did this come from?
Let's
I don't know.
just rephrase that you just don't know.
I don't always know what culture I'm talking about or what's appropriate in any given moment.
The New York Times crossword puzzle and a sip of tea. This is
Takes me back.
She was very aggressive on grammar. I got those genetics. It got ingrained into my head. My whole family's.
Are you sure it just wasn't with an accent and she was saying grandma?
No.
Okay.
It's grammar. You had to speak correctly. You had to speak politely. And you had to have a certain level of confidence but respect when you spoke to somebody, especially as a child, just like you were saying. If I were to ask you if I could have a cup of milk, if I said, can I have a cup of milk? Even worse would be, get me a cup of milk.
Mhm.
There was no milk coming at the end of that demand.
And the very proper way would be a spot of milk. Which we don't do because we're going to stick it to the Brits again.
You're out of control.
I'm just enjoying your story.
I haven't told it yet, which is why you were out of control. I would have to say, Grandma, may I please have a cup of milk? And she would say, yes, Annie. She would address me back and she would affirm or deny. And I would have to say, thank you. And she would say, you're welcome. If she said, Annie, would you like a cup of milk? I couldn't just say, uh-huh, or yeah. It had to be, yes, please, Grandma.
Wow.
I'm going to stop talking to you. I'm going to start talking to Brad. I'm going to pretend you're not here, even though I can't see him through the ring light. So it was just a very emphatic thing. It was ingrained in me. I have ingrained it in my children as best as I can. But I have gotten compliments from people who spend time around my children when I'm not there, and they are taken aback at how polite my kids are. I am bragging on my kids, but not for the sake of boasting about them. It's just something that has been very important to me raising them because it was important to somebody raising me. And my parents emphasized the same thing. So it was always something that was deemed important in our households. And the reason why I find it interesting that people will frequently comment on the fact that they were very polite is because it's usually coupled with the fact that it kind of took them aback. It was unusual to hear a certain level of politeness. That's not to say that every other kid out there isn't polite. It's just not the priority that it used to be.
It's not the priority for the parents, which is unfortunate. It must be because of the timing of it why I remember this story, but I think it was right around when we were pregnant. Can I say that when my wife was pregnant?
Depends on who the we is here.
Well, we
yes, sort of.
So in 2013-14, when we knew we were going to have twins, I think right around then or right before it, do you know who Stephen Curtis Chapman is? The Christian artist?
Great artist.
They had a family tragedy.
Yeah.
And if you recall, this was probably 10 years ago now or more. They had an adopted daughter and their older son was in college, and she was only about 6, I think. And he backed out of the driveway and ran over her, and she died. And being in Christian radio at the time, we kind of had to cover that, but we also knew him fairly well, and I think we ended up talking to him. Well, he was on Larry King in that period of time because of what had happened. Larry King was probably at the end of his career, and he was going to interview Stephen Curtis Chapman and some of the kids because they were a part of that story. And all he kept saying was, I am so amazed, because he would talk to the camera a little bit before he'd do the interview. I'm so amazed by how respectful this family and all these kids are. He just kept, it was like you could tell he genuinely was affected by just the respect that they had for anybody, an adult especially.
And that it's a little unusual in the progression that culture has taken, the way we treat one another. To be polite and to have manners is to put somebody else above yourself, is to humble yourself to somebody else.
Yeah.
To say that if I were to say, hey, Brad, can you please hand me blah, blah, blah. If I just dictate to him what he's going to do, it's going to be disrespectful to Brad. If I were to address him, if I were to say please, if I were to be, to use a tone of kindness, then it becomes something that you do out of respect. And children aren't really in a position. It's not just about whether or not we teach it. I don't think we model it well.
Yeah, and you know what's weird is that when you're talking about kids addressing adults, because that's mainly what it is. I mean, yes, nicely address your friends too, but when you're addressing adults out of respect, there's a fine line because a lot of the times you're talking about people you don't necessarily, like, hey, if an adult says blah, blah, blah to you, make sure you respond like this. But we're in an era now where you're like, what is a situation where an adult is talking to my child? Teachers certainly, or coaches or things like that. But I'm always in the back of my head going, I do want you to treat this person respectfully, but I also don't want you to sit there and start a conversation with a stranger. So it's a weird line that when I'm giving general rules for addressing adults, it's like you have to give them context for when to do that too.
Well, here's the Miss Manners article that I'm taking from NewJersey.com, NJ.com. I've seen you say that we should not correct other people's etiquette, even if they are being rude. In my experience, people do not apply this rule to children. I am teaching my young children to be polite. The main way I go about it is by modeling how I want them to behave. And it mostly works. I do not force them to say please and thank you as long as their tone is kind. If they are demanding or yelling, then I will remind them we don't get things when we talk like that. I am frustrated, though, when others correct my children. It is especially irksome when they offer something like, do you want a cracker? My child replies yes, and the adult says, you need to say please. They were simply answering a question and got reprimanded for it. This bothers me every time, but I don't know what to say in the moment. My middle child is 2 and is just learning to speak in full sentences, so I think the expectation is absurd. My mother does this often, but she's the grandma, so I let it slide. However, can you advise me what to say when other adults correct my kids' etiquette when I think they're already being polite? First, there are 2 issues here. The first is, who gets to correct your children or redirect your children? Because my opinion of the writer here is that I'm not just going to automatically buy into her outrage. Because if Brad says to one of my kids when they come here, hey, you want a candy bar? And they say, yeah, out of excitement. And then Brad goes, okay, but you got to say please, and says it just like that. I'm not going to be like, how dare you?
Yeah.
That's not happening. So if you're a super sensitive person who's
How
like,
dare you?
yeah, I might say it like that just for fun. But if you're a super sensitive person that's like, this is bothering so much, I'm going to talk to Miss Manners about it. It kind of makes me at least question, what are all the possibilities here? I'd like to establish all potential perspectives that might come in here. But the other question is, should she be teaching her children to be saying, if Brad says to my kids, hey guys, you want a candy bar? I am teaching my kids to say yes, please. Because I think that please is important, not just yes.
Yeah, I think this very issue came up in our house, and we handled it just
Brad was there?
very simply. Yeah, Brad came over and he was instructing our kids on how to do things
Trying
better.
to push
And we're
candy on my kids. And I was like, no.
We're like, man, this guy's good.
It's weird. It's Easter candy and it's Christmas.
We still have that.
But it was a teacher that our kids had who said, well, you need to address people in a certain way. And it's not necessarily the way we did it, but in a way it was kind of raising the bar for them. So we said, well, then when you're around her, then you have to do that.
Yeah.
I don't know why that would be such a problem, especially when it's not something you necessarily, if it was a moral that you disagree with, then it's a problem.
But saying please.
But raising the bar for manners, I don't know that that's a huge problem, unless it's a really particular, almost like religious rule that somebody's adding to you.
Miss Manners says, gentle reader, it is true. Miss Manners concedes that no one, excepting close family, should be correcting your children's manners. But as you came to her for advice, she will be so bold as to modify yours. Tone is certainly important when asking for and receiving things, but saying please and thank you is still necessary, especially in children, where intonation is more difficult to modulate. She further points out that please is no more difficult to say than yes or no, and even more adorable when lisped or mispronounced. So she's doubling down on the please and thank you. If there are people in your life who treat you with that extra set of manners or kindness with those types of words, I think it sticks out.
Oh, yeah. As an adult, especially she's talking about a 2-year-old. If a little 2-year-old, you say, you want a piece of cake? And they go, please. You go, hey, take the whole cake. Just take the whole cake. You're adorable. But that kind of manners, it does stand out because it's uncommon now.
It's a real positive way and simple way to make a difference, though, in somebody else's life. Mm-hmm. Just to be extra mannered.
Mm-hmm. In a way, as an adult now, if a child says something very respectful in that way, it gives me hope.
Yeah.
It kind of like, oh, yeah, that's great.
What about, does it cause you to respond to the child in a respectful way back? So, like, if they're like, may I please? Why, yes, you may. And then you do it, you reciprocate the politeness, and politeness breeds politeness.
And isn't that a part of what you're teaching them? Like, it's not, I mean, yes, it's all well-intentioned, but also you want to get ahead. Mm-hmm. Here's how you behave.
Right.
You start it, you treat them with kindness. One of my favorite sayings is karma's only a witch if you are, but that's not the whole saying.
Witchery, eh?
Yeah. We'll talk about the occult when we come back.
Great. Let's talk about the new Harry Potter stuff, too.
We will not. All right. Go vote in the YouTube live chat poll. Will Joe Biden be the 2024 Democrat nominee? Yes or no? I found out last night that should we reach 10,000 subscribers on the Annie Frey YouTube channel, that we can participate in actual charitable causes where 100% of the donations go to a cause that we choose. And I really want to utilize this feature on the Annie Frey YouTube channel. So if you haven't subscribed yet, here's what I need you to do. Go to the Annie Frey YouTube channel. In the live chat of today's live broadcast is the live chat poll. You hear us talk about it every day. It's different every day. And we want your thoughts on it. Will Joe Biden be the 2024 Democrat nominee? Yes or no? You can leave a comment. We'll feature some here before we wrap up the show. And hit the subscribe button. We'd love to have you be part of our community there. We'll be right back.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
So many things that back to school shopping at the grocery store, your shopping kind of changes, your purchasing things based on packing lunches and convenience and all that, being able to eat on the fly. Ruler Foods understands that, and they have a great opportunity for you to save on these type of basic staples that you're going to put in your pantry. Go to rulerfoods.com and find the Ruler Foods closest to you. But their A-plus savings event is happening right now through September 12th. Stock up on that hydration. Good grief, that's needed these days. 28 ounces, 10 for $10. You can get Kroger breakfast bars, easy to grab and go on the way out the door, $1.79. Kroger fully cooked bacon for a good protein-packed meal before school starts and the workday starts, 2 for $5. Kroger tub lunch meat, 7 to 9 ounces, 2 for $6. Big K 12 packs, $3 each when you buy 4. And a special treat for the end of the day, Kroger Deluxe ice cream, $5.49. Saving is made simple when you shop at Ruler Foods. It is simple, smart, and fresh, and you can find the Ruler Foods and the opportunities to save on all of these great items when you go online to rulerfoods.com.
Imagine what your backyard could look like once my friends from Chesterfield Fence and Deck have been there. Mark Cox here. Listen, mention my name, mention Mark, and get 48 months interest-free financing on your next outdoor project with Chesterfield Fence and Deck. They've been around for 55 years. They are one of St. Louis' top names in home improvements with a commitment to quality and professionalism. And you know that you have their sign in your yard. It's a sign you have the very best. Locally owned and operated for 55 years. They will come to your house, give you a free estimate at no obligation, free project design as well. They'll take measurements. They'll show you all of their product offerings right there at your house, or you can go to their showroom if you need that extra inspiration. But they do fences, they do decks, they do custom sunrooms and screen rooms and pergolas. Take advantage of it. A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau. Go online today and check them out at chesterfieldfence.com.
This is Matt Spiegel of 670 The Score in Chicago, and my podcast, The PBP, Voices of Baseball, is all about the art and craft of play-by-play. Catch up on episodes with Joe Davis, Joe Buck, and many more. Then something crazy happened along the way. I did a weekend of Cubs-Cardinals on the radio, so now conversations are enriched with feedback and advice from Jason Benetti, Boog Shambi, and others to come. The PBP, Voices of Baseball. I bring you the people who bring you the game. Listen on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcast.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-399-9407 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-399-9407. That's 800-399-9407. What do you have to lose? Call 800-399-9407. Again, 800-399-9407.
If you'd like to work with a local company that gives back to the community, Window World is the preferred window of your St. Louis Blues. Mark Cox here from my friends out at Window World. What a great product. A lifetime warranty. It covers all the parts, the glass breakage, the labor. You've heard me say that before. And they've been around for over 20 years. They have improved the look and the efficiency of over 70,000 homes in the greater St. Louis area. They have the Good Housekeeping seal of approval. That's hard to get, right? And that's important. They're ranked number one in the number of windows sold in the country by Qualified Remodeler magazine. Call them for a free estimate. Let them show you why they say simply the best for less. New doors, new windows. With Window World, they're now offering 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. 314-993-1800. That's 314-993-1800, or you can go online anytime to windowworld.com.
Hello, everybody. I'm John Rooney. Do you have an old car that's taking up room in the driveway? Repairs are costly and selling is a hassle? That's why you should donate it to Goodwill. Donating is quick and towing is free, plus you get a tax receipt and 4 tickets to a Cardinals game, compliments of the St. Louis Cardinals. That's a win-win. For more information or to donate, visit online at mersgoodwill.org. Must mention Cardinals.
For details and a list of all station contest rules, visit www.971talk.com/rules.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for the Honor Flight today at gsl.honorflight.org. And for heating services, visit aircomfortservice.com.
Want to listen to 97.1 outside the listening area? There's an app for that. Download the Odyssey app, and one tap will turn the station on. The Odyssey app for 97.1 FM Talk.
That she's back in the atmosphere with drops of Jupiter in her.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show.
She acts like summer and walks like rain. Reminds me that there's a time.
Follow Annie on Instagram at The Annie Frey Show.
Since the return of her stay on the moon, she listens like spring and she talks like June. Well, tell me.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Did you guys hear about this story? It broke maybe mid to late last week. There was a teacher that had been hired in the state of Illinois. And the posts that were found by whomever was, I don't understand how these things aren't found before the hire is made. But there was this teacher, and he was an art teacher. And let's see here. Suburban school board has dismissed this newly hired art teacher after reviewing some of the social media posts that this individual had put up. Now, when you look into somebody's social media history and you're trying to get a vibe of who this person is, I think it's important for individuals to understand, if you're applying for a job, that if the public can get to it, they're going to get to it. And I don't know if the generation that's coming up now, like Gen Zers, we talked about Gen Zers and Wiggins America a little bit, I don't know if they're going to be smarter about this. I mean, Facebook became a thing when it was thefacebook.com when I was a sophomore in college. Mark Zuckerberg is, I think, a month younger than I am. We're the same age. He created this in college. You had to have a .edu email address in order to sign up for Facebook. And people put stuff up there that you didn't have any concept of, like, everybody's going to see it. But, I mean, past what year would you kind of set the before internet accountability and after internet accountability? Like, because what you were putting up on the internet, if you were on thefacebook.com in 2004, is a little bit different than what you would be putting on the internet for people to see in 2024.
I'd put that year at about 2010, simply because I see a lot of people's pictures pop up from that's about when they started online. And that's when it really went, right around this, when it really went mainstream, where almost everybody had a Facebook account by 2010. Therefore, everything was much more public because everybody was on it.
But not the kids who weren't born in 2010 or who were too young to have it. Is there an understanding? Do children who are coming of age in the established digital age, so they're not learning with everybody else? We, as elder millennials, individuals born in the early 80s who lived a childhood without the internet. Like, the internet did not have a place in my childhood until I was about 14. And when the internet came on and you got to actually sign on 1 out of 5 chances of actually trying to connect, and it sounded goofy.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you got there, you're like, now what do we do?
Mm-hmm.
I should email somebody. Who else has email? You couldn't use the internet. You weren't permitted to use the internet for anything scholastic. It was it was like getting information from a back alley.
Yeah. And you had to make your email address some sort of weird combination of words and letters. Frog friend 495.
Yeah.
Too cool for you, 1983.
Yeah. Why did we just put Ryan back when it was open?
Because you didn't put your real name on the
Because
internet.
he didn't get to have a type of nickname like that anywhere else in life.
It's true.
Maybe in the backyard where you used to play.
Yeah.
I don't know that we should be able to discount people's pasts entirely when it comes to applying for new jobs and answering for what was. I do think it's part of the context. I don't think it's got to, I think that people can change. And I think that that's an important thing too. But the Homer CCSD 33C school district hired this individual as an elementary school teacher. This individual goes by he and they, an elementary school teacher. Chris Martin updated her profile picture, and this was in 2018. I have bipolar disorder with mania and psychosis. This condition has drastically changed my life for better and worse. Because of it, I suffer from irrational thought processes that make my fears and anxieties triple. Every day is a battle with my mind to survive and be the best me I can be. I have done things in conditions of psychosis and mania that have been violent and hurtful. But I am not my disease. I am me. And I know me. And I love me. This individual also has a post up on Instagram of an upside down black and white flag with a blue line through it. But the blue line is the words F the police.
Okay.
And there's another post that they put up that says, Hail Satan. And it's a picture of this individual wearing a T-shirt. And it says, Satan respects pronouns. And it's like a goat image that would induce somebody to understand the relevance towards Satan.
Okay.
Under the F the police flag, it says it's time for reform. It's time for justice. No white supremacists in our law enforcement. No more senseless deaths. # George Floyd, May 27, 2020. This individual was hired to teach elementary school in a suburban a suburban Chicago school district. So Fox 32 in Chicago reports on this out of Lockport, Illinois, and says, a suburban school board has dismissed a newly hired art teacher after the person's social media post caused controversy among parents. Doesn't that seem like a weird perspective? Like that sentence in and of itself. The person was released because the pictures caused controversy among parents. So the controversy among parents is the problem here? Because it seems to me like controversy among parents shouldn't be enough to dismiss somebody, because just because people come together and don't like something doesn't mean that somebody should lose their job over it. On Sunday night, the Homer Community Consolidated District 33C school board fired the teacher effective immediately. While parents were pleased with the decision to terminate the teacher, they still criticized the school board and claimed they didn't do their due diligence in vetting the teacher before hiring them. Some parents said they would be coming for the member seats in the next election. Parents had said the art teacher, who was hired to work at William J. Butler Elementary and 3 other schools, posted some questionable things on social media. I've seen some anti-religious child sacrifice. There was Satan worship, said one parent. Julie McDaniel, a district parent, said, if he has his lifestyle, so be it, but that is not going to be put onto our children. I really asked the question. And again, I've said this before, I will say it again. I send my children to a Lutheran school to ensure that they don't encounter this type of stuff, because I feel like that is a safe place for them. And I want to prioritize a Christian belief that my family holds dear. It's not everybody's. I still pay my taxes to the local school district, public school district that my kids would attend if they weren't in a Lutheran school. But how do we draw the line socially, culturally? Why is this not okay and other stuff we're fighting for? I'm not 100% sure I understand the definitive line that was crossed here for the judgment of other people. Like, all this stuff is way past the line for me and for my children. But culturally, we are so segmented on what is acceptable and what is encourageable and what is detestable. Why is this outrageous enough to say, no, this is too far? But then we see other places, and Chicago is certainly home to it, where a lot of the things that they're talking about individually is celebrated.
Yeah, I think the difficult thing about this one is that you're trying to apply overarching rules that would apply to all situations that could be applied fairly to anybody, and say, how would they apply to this guy? But I think you're dealing with such a gray area when it comes to teachers, because who's ultimately paying for them? Is it the school board, or is it the government? Or do you draw that back to the actual taxpayers, which would be the parents paying for that? So then could they raise hell over this? And then with this particular instance,
raise hell.
I know. With this one,
that's what they want.
It's interesting because as I'm looking at it and going, how do you apply just a rule overall here? Which is, I think, what you're saying. Like, how do you say, well, here's the free speech line?
Well, this is what I'm saying. This group, the school board, looked at this person and judged them not fit to be in a classroom. So at some point, you have to look at somebody and judge and say, this lifestyle choice of yours is not okay to be in a classroom. I don't care what you do with your life. You're not going to do it here.
All I hear when I hear that guy, I'm thinking a lot of that stuff I disagree with, but I also believe in free speech enough that if it's just political stuff that's not entering the classroom, you're not trying to indoctrinate my kids, you just have personal beliefs, then I can't say anything. But when you start to talk about, and here's where I went, oh man, if I'm putting my kid in that classroom, that's where I start to go, I don't know. If you say, man, I've had periods of mania that I've done things that I don't even remember what I've done to people, then you go, I don't know that I feel comfortable with you with my kids.
That's where I was going to go with this. That's the very first thing that whenever I first saw this story, that's the thing that was the big flashing red light. Periods of mania with outbursts of violence.
Yeah.
Posted by the individual.
Posted by the individual. So the individual mentioned that he has certain conditions, or they have certain conditions that cause them to have outbursts of violence. You cannot have that in a classroom.
So if that sentence is not on social media, is he okay?
He probably isn't going to get caught.
I mean, at the point where also you're like, hey, you know who I love is Satan. As a parent, I'm like, I don't know, man.
But why?
If you're bringing that into the curriculum that you're teaching, then no, you're not okay to teach my kid that.
There is no indication that this individual was going to bring that into
the
you're
curriculum.
Right. It was just social media posts from 2018.
But at the same time, I would feel very uncomfortable with it and wouldn't want it. So if I'm the parent, I'm raising red flags.
For the record, I trust Ryan Wiggins' judgment over the general public's judgment on culture. I'm just asking the question. Other than the violence that he alludes to regarding his condition of bipolar disorder and experiencing moments of mania, is everything else about this individual okay? If he wouldn't have typed out the part where he has had those violent episodes, is he still in a classroom teaching kids? I don't know that he's not.
Yeah, I think he probably is.
I was going to say it's my experience that the comments about outbursts of violence is the doorway or the trigger that will allow this school board to remove them. We're removing them for this. We don't particularly like all this other stuff.
Maybe they do, though.
But it's really hard for them to remove somebody, legally speaking, on those grounds.
This is an advocacy for people to stand up and have some more cojones to define what is right and wrong.
Yeah.
Culturally, what we are willing to collectively accept. And I said this before, and I will say it again. If there is a group of people who wants to have this sort of education in their classroom, start your school. Start a school. But just as much as you don't want Bible thumpers in the front of a classroom teaching your kids all about how every sin that they have committed is washed away by the blood of Jesus Christ, you don't want that pushed in their faces. I don't want this stuff pushed in my kid's face, and I don't want it pushed in anybody's face. Teach them how to add. Teach them how to read. Teach them how to use pronouns in a sentence. Teach them how to understand social situations that exist, like figuring out how to balance a checkbook when they're older, figuring out how to manage money and count money when they're younger. These are things that we need to educate our kids on, because the last time I checked, we kind of suck in the outcomes of the things that matter, but we are creating some really good woke soldiers.
Yeah, we definitely are. Man, isn't it amazing? I don't want to get into this can of worms, but isn't it amazing the change that schools are undergoing right before our eyes? I think we are in a period right now that we're going to look back on and say, that was a big moment in American culture, what happened with schools in 2020 and then what happened afterwards.
And I do believe, I remember growing up in the time where it was like, get church out of school. Like, it was an emphasis when we were growing up and we were in the classroom, and that happened. And they have definitely kept religion in the classroom. It's just not Christian faith any longer. And it's really up to our generation as parents, as guardians, as the watchmen who have the opportunity to look after these children, not to push back our version into the classroom, but to say, you won that last battle, but we're going to push back. If you don't stand up and say, get back to the educating of our children on the subjects that matter, keep the rest of the stuff for your own personal time with your children. You can send them to clubs, you can send them to different things that you support, but in the classroom, get back to the right education for our kids. It's going to take pushback. It's going to take volume.
Yeah, and it's happening, but it's happening too slowly. People have got to get involved in this stuff.
Quick break. When we come back, the results of today's YouTube live chat poll and your vote. Why haven't you voted yet? Our march to 10,000 subscribers. We're going to try to pass 6,000 before we get to 10. We got a little bit of ways to go, but it's a goal for this show, and we'd love for you to join us there. Will Joe Biden be the 2024 Democrat nominee? Yes or no? Your thoughts when we return.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
That she's back from that soul vacation, tracing her way through the constellation.
Hey, when I talk about Andrea's Steak Sauce and Andrea's Steakhouse, I'm talking about a locally made sauce that is world famous. Their steak sauce, if you have not tried it, now is the time. It is grilling season. It is really hot this week. So I'm not saying necessarily step outside and grill this week, but most of the summer and the season that we're entering is just great grilling weather. So get a bottle of Andrea's sauce at area grocery stores, Schnucks, Deerbergs, Andreas.com. But also, these are chefs. They know how to make sauce. They know how to make a sauce that is now world famous right here from St. Louis. So if you haven't tried their salad dressing or their barbecue sauce, the people sitting in this room, Brad Range and I, talk about their barbecue sauce all the time because we love it on everything. And that is brand new, actually. They've had their steak sauce since 1978. They've had their dressing for probably a little over a decade, but the barbecue sauce is brand new, not even 12 months old, maybe just 6 months. So try any of those, all of those. You will not be disappointed. I absolutely promise you that. In fact, you may make it a staple, a culinary staple within your household. You can see all of those in area grocery stores like Schnucks, Deerbergs, or at Andreas.com.
Attention business owners, this is John Souza, CEO of ERTC.com. The Employee Retention Tax Credit Program provides up to $26,000 per W-2 employee. If you're confused about the program, stop right now before it's too late. Don't fall for false promises and risk your business. All ERTC companies are not the same. The bottom line, there's no such thing as guaranteed eligibility, and being innovative with tax filings can lead to an audit. At ERTC.com, we won't mislead you to attest to your own eligibility. At ERTC.com, everything is done in-house by expert CPAs, and there's no cost to get started. With the ERTC.com Fast Track Refund Program, you may qualify to get your refund in as soon as 48 hours. Get started today at ERTC.com.
Get your free refund information now. 800-200-6640. 800-200-6640. That's 800-200-6640.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof, Frederick Roofing.
Over 90,000 satisfied customers since 1929. Frederick Roofing, 314-645-2000.
The MLB app. Your team, your players, your home for live streaming baseball.
And what a way to start.
Customize your home feed with your favorite team. Get personalized stats, highlights, stories, breaking news, and follow your team on game day. 3D replays and live streams add a new dimension to the game. Plus, free live streaming programming every day. The MLB app. Make it your home for all things baseball. Download for free from the App Store or Google Play. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission.
Is your home, business, or church looking tired, chalky, or in need of curb appeal? Go Rhino. Tired of painting year after year? Go Rhino. Our unique 3M ceramic technology is perfect for brick, stucco, aluminum, steel, color lock masonite, and more. It's backed by our 25-year transferable warranty to not chip, crack, or peel. Great if you're staying, and even better if you're selling. Our ceramic coating allows you to maintain all of your architectural features. The decision to do vinyl will leave your home looking like a plastic moldy box. With Rhino Shield, in 15 years, your home will still have that, wow, it looks like you just got it painted. We've done large condo complexes, parking garages, pole barns, and commercial strip malls. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. Evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
No paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
What's holding you back from learning the language you've always wanted to know?
Too hard. Takes too long.
Not with Babbel. Babbel's lessons take just 15 minutes a day.
15 minutes isn't long.
Nope. And they're fun.
Fun isn't hard.
Right. Babbel's interactive lessons, podcasts, games, and more make it fun and engaging, so you don't realize you're learning a language, but you are. And Babbel's lessons are built around real life. You can choose from topics like travel, business, relationships, and more. You'll learn what matters most to you. Plus, Babbel's lessons are designed to get you speaking right away. In 3 weeks, you're able to start having conversations.
Just 3 weeks? Even better.
Since Babbel's lessons are designed by language experts and voiced by real native speakers, you'll get the accents just right and be able to carry on conversations with confidence.
Learning a language with Babbel doesn't take long. And with Babbel, it isn't hard. It's perfect.
And now, try Babbel free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
The Annie Frey YouTube live chat poll of the day: will Joe Biden be the 2024 Democrat nominee? Yes or no? We're going to give you the results of that poll in just a couple minutes. So if you haven't voted yet, sneak your vote in right now. The time is 2:52. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning. Yes, it is.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
JerryKelly.com.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Kind of feels wrong to talk until it hits.
Stop. No.
Keeps going. Here it goes.
You. Oh, that's where you come in.
It was hard to because you were talking. This was the music that was playing when I did the PA, the voiceover for the Blues home opener.
And you did dead voice.
It would be like on your feet or something. They wanted me to just say that. I was supposed to sound like a computer voice.
Yep.
To command the arena to do things, to get prepped for the home opener for the St. Louis Blues. I think it was in 2010. I'll have to go back and find the video. Every time I hear that song, I mention this on the show. And so I'm sitting at this big old fancy table somewhere at the whatever center it is. Scottrade?
Enterprise.
Enterprise. Good.
Well, Scottrade probably at the time.
Savas Center.
Yep.
And so I'm sitting there, and they got a microphone in front of me, and there's like 6 dudes. And they're like, here's what we want. We want you to sound like the computer voice that is no emotion, no feeling. And I didn't know what it was going to go over. I didn't know. They're like, we're going to tell you what we want you to say. And we just want you to say it with just totally flat.
Yeah.
So first it was get on your feet. So I'd be like, get on your feet. And they're like, no, less emotion.
Yeah,
I'm
less.
like,
It's hard.
okay. Get on your feet. Something like that. And so I repeated these phrases. One was follow Bluey in a Let's Go Blues cheer or something like that. The longer it was, the harder it was to do. And then when I was in the arena and I heard my voice over Enter Sandman, that's what it was, right? I mean, seriously, even to this point, one of the coolest moments of my career.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody knew it was me. I was the only person in the arena that knew.
Did they process your voice at all?
Not that I know of. I mean,
because that is, I've tried to record people doing that. It is one of the hardest things to do to get somebody to read with zero emotion.
they might have a little bit, but I mean, I definitely could tell it was me. I'll have to find the video and share it.
I had to do a couple of those too, not for that, but I had to do the concert series is coming to St. Louis. Like, you have to just be dead.
Yeah.
It's hard to do.
And the interesting juxtaposition of the most intensity you can muster everywhere else with my complete and total lifeless voice commanding however many thousands of people were in that are just like, you blues fans are nuts. You are exploding at the seams, ready to go nuts. Total respect for it. It was so cool to be a part of it. And then we got to watch the game, which was pretty cool too. I think we won like 2-1 or something. It was a good hockey game.
Blues games are fun, man.
Oh, yeah.
They are. The YouTube live chat poll for today. Will Joe Biden be the 2024 Democrat nominee? Yes or no? Fedora says, I don't think the big guy would make it this long in the office. Granted, he's being held together with duct tape and controlled by fishing line. Oh, okay. that is a possibility. Bob said, I voted no. He has already said Kamala would be his running mate, and with his age, the DNC would be setting themselves up for a position they do not want to be in. I think that they have arrived at the position they don't want to be in.
I think they're there.
Vicky says, I said no in the poll. I just don't see it happening. And Scooter said, I voted yes because I wanted the poll to look credible.
He's looking out for us.
I know.
What a guy. Yeah.
Scooter's always looking out for us, and we
Nice
love
guy.
Scooter for it. We appreciate that. The results to today's YouTube live chat poll, will Joe Biden be the 2024 Democrat nominee, yes or no? 41% say yes.
Ah, you're wrong.
59% say no. The majority of our listeners, with over 250 votes, the majority of our listeners say it's not going to be him.
Yeah, and you're all wrong because it is going to be him.
Fair, okay.
And you're wrong too.
Let's hope.
I do hope.
It would be the greatest honor to be wrong in that regard. The best possible hope for Republicans in this election is for Joe Biden. For the record, folks, I wanted to talk about this a little bit more, but I'm going to talk about it here real quick and tee it up for Mark Reardon if he's going to talk about it. Joe Biden was at a reception for the survivors in Hawaii. He fell asleep at the table.
Ooh, I think I just saw that.
It's terrible. It's embarrassing. And the more we cover it, the more likely he is to not be the candidate. So I guess, I don't know, if we just keep it quiet.
I will just leave that alone.
The Mark Reardon Show, up next on 97.1 FM Talk.
I'm not America's sweetheart. I'm back to doing what I love and more. Thanks to the good feet store.